So the matchups beginning to unfold at the Eagles forward line. Lynch, McDougall, Gardner. So there's some height down there. Already a shove and it's Stengline involved. Well, no surprise there. Michael Doughty, the man right alongside, saying hello. Keep an eye on them, folks. We're underway at Amy Stadium. Cox against Hudson in the middle. Judd besieged by McLeod. Oh, this is going to be exciting, isn't it, in the midfield? There's going to be some heat on, and this is going to be a terrific afternoon of footy.
Mark Rasciuto started outside the square.
A good performer, as we mentioned. Now look at this. Stengline wanting to go to McLeod, the former teammates. Embley attempting to go over the top. Edwards, part of an Adelaide midfield that is also pretty impressive.
I thought the Wizard Cup final was a great learning experience for the West Coast. We know they've got great attacking players, but they went head-to-head with Carlton and got beaten on the day. So they're going to have to find that great mix of defence and attack in the middle.
Risky ball here. Rasciuto has to keep his feet. He can't. This is Fletcher now. Trapping it in. Dangerous territory. Crows desperate with Doughty. A bounce, attacking zone for West Coast. We'll see if they go with the third man up again, as Embley has done on the two previous bounces. Opening minute on a beautiful day. It's all Adelaide here. Hudson for Riley. Hacks it to midfield. The wall was set up. The kick, gee, some carry there over the head of Wirrapunda. McLeod through midfield. Banfield, did he get in the back of Rasciuto? Yes.
And Banfield, another one who's been there for so long.
Good run from Burton. Now the important ball, the entry inside 50. The leap from Welsh in the middle of a pack. Wirrapunda for Cox, back to Wirrapunda. Nice little chip over the top for Michael Braun.
Wasn't a great lead there by Scotty Welsh. He led up the ground straight into the path of where Ian Perry was leading into the space. They've got to work out, get out of one another's space.
Taking the coach's off-season advice to the full extreme there. They want to go more direct. They want to go down the centre corridor. And perhaps to their detriment there, we'll have a boundary throw in. No, a push. Kerr getting the throw.
John Cock on Kerr. It's an exciting combination. Good battle.
Good leap over the top taken by Hudson. 13 games in his rookie year last year, but a free kick going the way of Gardner and the Eagles. Long to the hot spot. Lynch the target. Good spoil from behind. Some pressure on here for Matner. Bassett, will he concede? No. And Hart. They can run it away. This looks all right. Rutten to Henschel. Nice fluid movement. Now Burton. Again in space. Good ball for Doughty. Good movement, Crows. McLeod's leading wide to the boundary at half forward. He turns him down. He's told to play on. He might have to go backwards. This is Perry. His 70th senior game today. Men down the centre corridor. Driving long and direct. But the Eagles have got numbers back there. Several players collide. Welsh perhaps off the ground. Was that the boot of Welsh? If it is, it's the opening goal. Yes.
Well, this is an interesting one. We'll have a look at Wirrapunda. He just fades off this pack, and at the split second he could see that his man wasn't going to be able to assist. And then he lunges. Whether or not he touched the ball is, I guess, the query that most West Coast Eagles fans will have, but looked like pretty clean contact to me.
Jared, you don't get a stat for it. Mark Stevens' attack on the ball went sensational. Made the ball spill.
Scott Welsh battled thigh injuries across the course of the pre-season. Gave it a bit of a workout there, but at full stretch. Gets the Crows through for the opening goal, and the breeze would have appeared to pick up and favour the main scoreboard end left of screen, where the Crows are attacking in the opening term. Big hit out by Cox, but John Cock is there to mop up at half-back. Awkward looking kick from McGregor. Bounces towards Riley. Hudson now under pressure. Cox for Fletcher on the wing. Bobbing and weaving. Now Kerr just waxing it here, the Eagles.
Found him.
Got him. Wirrapunda in the middle. Have to hold it up momentarily as Perry comes to stand the mark. Another chip wide, Embley. He's off. He's off. He's off. Did well to get it away, but the door could open for the Crows, and it will, and Matner's away. Loose man streaking forward. Goes to the goal square. Target Welsh! Jared, I don't like the chip around style of football at times. It can bring you a cropper. And here's Welsh lining up goal number 2.
Well, in many ways, that kick, when you are facing the glut of players up the ground, that kick to change play is one of the more important ones in footy. The original one from Kurta Wirapunda was fine. The next one put them under pressure. The turnover results in Welsh's second goal.
And I would say Matner would be very happy that Scott Welsh took that mark, because Andrew McLeod was all on his own.
Well, the result is all that counts here, particularly early in the piece. We've got Scotty Welsh now with 2 goals. He's been left alone one-on-one in the goal square with Chick. It's almost as if they're trying to isolate Chick and make him the full-back. They'd be pretty confident that it is going to be a Welsh victory on that occasion. This one was strength and ability versus strength and ability, and on that occasion it was Welsh that came out on top. Good start to him.
Welsh and the Crows off to a good start. Wayne Schwass.
Yeah, we're just watching Graham Johncock and Dave Wirapunda. They're opponents of each other, but they're standing across half back for their respective sides. You'd think with 2 quick goals to the Crows, John Worsfold might say to Dave Wirapunda, push yourself forward and make it a man-on-man contest around the ground at the moment.
Good roll to have, Schwatter. Get some cheek kicks. Cousins out of the middle. The handball for Braun. Back to the skipper. The entry inside half forward, but as Wayne has just told us, loose man back there, Johncock provided support. McDougall gave away the free. That should be advantage play on, because the Crows have got the overlap here. Bassett wide to the outer side for Hart. Game number 277, just 1 behind Nigel Smart now. What a ball for Matner. Look at them run. Good kick, and that's a beauty. And he's going to line up goal number 3, Scott Welsh. Happy birthday.
Ken McGregor's attack on the ball in the back pocket was great. They're switching the ball very well down there, Jared.
The movement's been excellent. They are just looking like the more freer side at the present time. They don't look at all hesitant. They're just flowing, and their skills are backing up their intention.
And 7 minutes into a new season, Scott Welsh has 3 goals. Fox Footy Sunday with you right around Australia. We've got some terrific excitement coming up on Sundays this year, and right now the Adelaide Crows are delivering us an explosive start.
Well, we just saw on screen exactly what's missing from that Adelaide side when Ben Hart is not there. We know there's a lot of people can negate, but to get that balance of being an absolutely negative player 1 second and then create like that is what makes him a champion.
3 kicks, 3 goals, 7 minutes. On this basis, how many goals is he going to kick for the year? 700.
Fred Fanning, is he getting nervous?
Does Rashudo get a free? No. Edwards. Little hand pass out. Dowie is dumped by Braun. Did well to get it off, though, to Shirley. Here's Hart seeing plenty of it early. Long and direct, the style of the game with the breeze at the back. Wise over the head of Perry. Where's Welsh? Coming out again. Daniel Chick back there to relieve momentarily for the Eagles. Nice ball. No, over the head of Braun. And it's forced over for a boundary throw-in.
Stoker's going back onto Welsh, a bloke who's got plenty of skill, plenty of speed, and a little bit more height than Daniel Chick. What about the Braun versus Burton matchup? Wayne on the wing.
Well, Burton's got a lot of the ball early, and as we see, his endurance is exceptional. It'll be interesting to see whether he can keep up.
Now the free kick going the way of the Eagles. Some holding on in the ruck contest there. And Cox eager to deliver it off by hand. Now the Brownlow medalist, Joe. Next Cousins' work, an anxious moment.
Got him.
That was all. Cousins has got Fletcher on the wing. And downfield free.
Yeah, there was a reaction after that, Shepherd.
Stevens, the man, still going on with Banfield away from the camera, which is following Fletcher. Short ball, that's okay. Here's Stengline. Not too many howls of derision from the crowd. Adelaide filling the gap brilliantly so far. This is Burton.
Just doesn't look right to me, Braun on Burton. He's just too athletic for Braun.
McLeod going wide. Henschel under pressure from Chick. And that is as good as deliberate unless the umpire says he was slung that way, and he does. Boundary throw-in.
The other thing that's going to be of interest is can the West Coast get the right chemistry between McDougall and Lynch and, of course, Gardner. 3 very tall players in one forward line.
And it's something they haven't had before in their recent history of these players.
That's right, Jared. I can tell you that McDougall has played in one practice match, and that was a non-tackling practice match, so his preparation has been very underdone.
Cousins kick smothered by Riley, over for a boundary throw in. Half forward for the Eagles, who do appear to be going against a pretty significant breeze. Certainly the flags above the grandstand at Amy Stadium indicating that there's a bit of an advantage to the left of screen. The scoreboard, a good one for the Crows so far. Cox locking arms with Hudson. Henschel pushed over by Chick. Play on the call. Braun throws it out to Cousins. Play on the call. Fans not happy. Judd has it. Blazers misses. Looking forward to seeing him in action this year and handling the pressure of being a Brownlow medalist. Hard again. And another good ball. McGregor. They've moved it fluently so far. Long and direct gives Welsh a chance. He pushes out Staker. Can he get number 4? Brought down. Big tackle. Pressure's on. Intense on the Eagle defence here. They're holding up for the time being. And that's a fortuitous kick. And McDougall marks on half-back.
What was good, though, there was the recovery of Staker. He was pushed out of it, but he went to ground, quickly got back up, and ended up being on the receiving end of an exit handball.
Good to see Michael Gardner back. First senior match since round 3 of last year. Phil Matera, by the way, has made his way onto the ground.
McGregor's picking up Gardner, but he run down the ground, hence out of position.
Dean Cox has come off the ground, so it will be interesting to see who is the nominated second ruckman, whether it's Lynch or Gardner.
Drawn to the midfield for Embley. Shined again in the pre-season Wizard Cup. Well, he runs into some traffic, backs himself. Crowded forward line for the Eagles as Banfield looks up here. Therefore carries it, kicks long. Sampi or Matera. Bassett to ground. Here's Johncock, now Riley. Sending it out wide in front of Perry. Will the bounce be kind with Hunter the pursuant? And he's got it. Ben Cousins now. Target is Fletcher, who's found some space, and a wonderful ball from the skipper.
This is where they're broken down. They just haven't got the balance right, and Burton is part of the problem. He is just floating down from the wing to just block up the hole. Wayne Swass.
Jared, in regards to Cox coming off, I can tell you now that Andrew McDougall was pushed up to do the ruck work around the ground. And we see the man with the ball now, Phil Matera, a tremendous forward player for the Eagles. He's gone forward. It's a good move, because what that will now do is make Graham Johncock tighten up, accountable for Phil Matera. So a good result for the Eagles, providing he puts it through.
First genuine touch for the year for Matera after shoulder surgery and shingles in the off-season. And perhaps it showed the limited preparation with that kick. Is doubting now. Has room to run. Could still go. Elects to kick long. That new game plan on display here. Edwards buffets into McDougall. McDougall's down. Hurt his right shoulder perhaps. Crows win the footy. Leading up towards the 50. Stevens with glass. And we'll have a boundary throw in. And McDougall ginger, but it looks like he'll be okay to continue.
When the Eagles go forward, they don't seem to have any room. The on-ballers of the Adelaide Crows are pushing back, getting numbers behind the football, and then basically running into space onto centre wing, and then delivering it long and direct to the likes of Scotty Welsh and Mark Stevens.
We'll wait to see if anyone targets the McDougall's shoulder in the next few minutes from the Crows. Here's McLeod. Under some pressure. Embley. Rubbered, but perhaps effective. Cousins has dunked. Illegally. Free kick.
Well, I guess to highlight your point, Wayne, both sides have been in the forward 57 times. Eagles haven't gone close to kicking a goal. Well, Judd had one shot, I suppose, but the Crows have made the most of their opportunities.
You can't see on your screen, but as you see, the on-ballers all drifting back into the Eagles' forward line as we speak.
Right now,
there's not one Adelaide player inside the forward 50 for them.
Right now, a very well-coached game and structure set up by Neil Craig as Lynch does enough to be awarded the mark in the middle here.
McDougall off the ground, Cox going forward.
That'll be an interesting battle, Ben Rutten on Lynch, because Ben Rutten hasn't played a lot of footy, but played on some big forwards last year and did quite a good job.
Now, Cox too far out to score. As you see the inside 50s. taking some time. Stagnant forward motion, the Eagles, in the opening quarter hour. Sampi to leap. Fletcher goes without it. McLeod lurking. Kerr as well. Good pressure. The former Crows Stengline. There's a free kick. Advantage play on. Braun's got it now. All Adelaide back there.
Well, Jared, it looks like Ben Hart has the job on Matera now. They've made the move. John Cock off and Ben Hart onto Matera.
Just having a look at this Braun and Burton matchup. I think one of the problems with Braun is that if he goes forward to go one-on-one with Burton, he hasn't got the capacity to take a mark. And I think that he'd be far more dangerous, and Burton would be more accountable if he was that sort of player.
And that's one of the great strengths of Brett Burton. He can get down back. He's like another ruckman down there. He's so good overhead.
Wirapunda accidentally soccering it out of bounds on the full. Crows the free. Edwards goes short. Welsh dives. Has he paid the mark? Yes. And he will line up to try and kick his fourth goal in the opening quarter. What a start for Scott Welsh. 36 goals last year as he just gets there in time. He kicked 7 against the Bulldogs in round 13 and followed that up with 8 against Melbourne in round 14, which provided 15 of his 36 goals.
Bit of a sigh around the ground there as to whether or not that hit the ground, but Australian cricket has declared it out.
We're in Adelaide, Jared. It's always going to be a mark.
His kick drifts across the face, just to behind.
So after this start, I wouldn't want to be going down on the boundary line having declared them wooden spooners.
Oh.
No.
It's a long season, Jared. We're a punter to bring it back into play. And they're with the win against a team that hasn't won here against them since 96. We'll watch it with interest. Chick in the back pocket. Most of the statistical categories are even. Adelaide playing a better brand of football and better use of it to this point. Fletcher for Braun, who's, I should expect, seeing plenty of it. Fair to say he and his opponent playing wide. Back to Fletcher. Now Embley. Now Stengline. So 4 of those much vaunted midfielders hooking up. They've got to do it hot potato style here as Fletcher's under the pump. Stengline. Braun, look out. You're going to go eventually. Still the pressure's on. Crows refusing to concede there, and they've got numbers back as well. Hart the glide. Bode the fumble. Matera. He's brought down. McGregor. Bassett. It's intense. John Cock has some space and time. And can stop and wait. And wait. And now short.
And Jared, a very wise coach once told me that you can tell whether a side's going to win in the first quarter, and Adelaide's pressure has been great.
We'll take that as an early declaration of 4 points for the Crows. And right now, it's pretty hard to make a case for the Eagles. Something has to change in a hurry for them, particularly against this bloke.
He is on fire. Scott Welsh, a 5th shot at goal coming up.
The reason why Scott Welsh is playing so well is purely because the Adelaide players are getting back, the forward line's open, and Scott Welsh is so explosive out of the blocks, they just can't stop him.
Yeah, the flow through the middle has been unresisted, hasn't it? There's been no great defence. The tackle pressure from the Crows has been superb, and it's created the opportunities in their forward line.
Already with 3 goals won. Welsh from 45. Close. Missing to the right-hand side. Of course, Welsh doesn't have, Jared, a big lumbering bloke there anchoring centre-half forward, which they had at the start of last season.
Well, that was, I think that's what finally got Neil Craig the job. He said, let's get rid of the deadwood. Let's get rid of those lumbering types. Get in some fresh young talent.
Wirapunda. Plenty of carry on the kick there, more than they may have been expecting. The Crows driving it long. Here's a go for Stevens. Bounced off his shoulder. McLeod and Wirapunda. Wonderful pick up, McLeod. Good pressure, though, by the Eagles. Still a chance, though, for Adelaide. Dinky little ball for Bode. Has he got time? Gets onto the left. Steadies. Close. Missing as well.
Early signs there for the Crows. They're using the ball well. They're using one another.
Chick getting a rest. Haven't had a match-up that's suited him. He's been exposed early in the piece with the quick flow to Welsh. He's been replaced by Jones.
Drew Banfield turning 31 tomorrow with the kick back into play for Wirapunda, who rides the contact well. Saw Stengline running to the wing. He hears it from the members below us. Delivers to Gardner. That's a free kick.
Well, they've been hot on this all weekend. Round one, any interference above the shoulders to the bloke in front making the play is going to be pinged, and I think it's been very consistent.
And 50, so this should be the Eagles' opening goal.
Kenny McGregor is probably giving away a good 4 or 5 inches. It's very hard not to get over the shoulder there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to really be a change of mindset for the defenders. I think Steve Silvani is already penning a new book because his tactics are right out the window, and he would have kicked a few more goals had this rule been applied.
Well, I spoke to Jason Dunstall yesterday about this, and he said he would have kicked 2,000 goals.
Never one to be modest.
He undersold himself.
Michael Gardner, perhaps not the most generous of 50-metre penalties, but he should convert regardless, and he does. Eagles get there first.
Well, a little bit of assistance by the umpire there. I'm not sure why the 50-metre was paid, but they finally got one. Good result. They needed it. Wirrapunda just brought the ball forward, and there was the infringement. More technical, without question, but they're either there or they're not there, and as they continue to pay it, I think we're going to have a cleaner game, and we're going to see plenty of high scores.
Some running between the men on the mark and Gardner. The cause of the 50-metre penalty. The Eagles with their first. The Crows, however, remaining in control, although the game has evened up somewhat as Butler on for the Eagles forces a second bounce.
They've changed the structure of their forward line a hell of a lot. They've got 2 talls off Lynch and Gardner Gardner's still there. Lynch and McDougall are from the ground. They've put Judd down there, and Matera is also a hell of a lot more quicker than the player they had there initially.
And Hanson in there as well, who's a tall and mobile player as Fletcher delivers to the pocket. Matera, look out for him, he's quick. Hart no good in the tackle. Here's Hanson, he's tied up. Will we have a bounce? Yes.
Yes, Jared, you just mentioned Woosha has bought Lynch off. Really, he hasn't had the opportunity to do too much. The ball hasn't been delivered in there too freely, and I'm not sure what Hanson's going to do if it comes in that manner.
All Crows at the full. McGregor for Bassett. Space on the broadcast side. They'll pursue this one near the boundary. Henschel needs support. Eventually gets it. Good running by Bode to get to the contest. Now Riley can deliver the half forward. Perry on a hard lead. Worn tightly by Hunter. Play on the call. Local fans not happy with the free kick count discrepancy at the moment. Cousins just on where Apunda took it over. Boundary throw-in.
Well, the flood is certainly back at the moment in AFL footy. A couple of sides are going the ultra flood, and we're seeing the Crows really, it's the basis of their attacks forward. They're just swamping the defensive throw-ups, and the Eagles are actually letting them be, I guess, manned up 2 against 1 on the forward line, and the ball inevitably just has to come out.
Yeah, you're right, Jared. They're doing exactly that. They're shuffling back. I wouldn't quite call it a flood, but a semi-flood is definitely
very heavy rain at this stage.
We had that at the Dome yesterday. Subiaco last night. Skipworth working hard. Kerr there, dragged out of it. Umpires letting them play. Eventually he'll be forced to blow the whistle and call for a bounce, and he does.
Well, as a forward, Wayne, would you have liked the midfielders to come up and go man on man with the players the Crows midfielders are going so deep?
Jared, where I think sides go wrong is they don't get the ball in there quick enough. They hold it up, they try to chip it around and get cheap possessions rather than get it in there as quick as they can.
The best in football with you on AFL Sunday this year. Brownlow medalist Gerard Healy and the 2-time premiership captain Wayne Carey and a premiership player in Wayne Schwass with us as well. The Crows by 14 points.
So you're talking the kicks from half-back through.
Half-back through the midfield. They've got to get the ball in there a lot quicker. Don't hold it up. Don't chip it back into the centre for easy possessions. Just get it in there quick for your big forwards and get the crummers at their feet.
Good tackle by Hayden Skipworth rewarded, albeit Kerr not a lot of daylight to get out. Skipworth towards the 50. 2 Eagles spoil one another. Fletcher bumped solidly by Riley. Hunter, quick hands. Banfield has to get rid of it. Nice touch on the left to Judd.
This is the kick you're talking about.
This is the kick I'm talking about. Judd holds it up.
And he is one man who can find a target, albeit tricky one for Gardner there. Boundary throwing.
The tricky thing for Judd, though, is the Crows are getting back so quickly. The on-ballers are getting back very quickly, and he looks up and he sees a sea of Crows. There's nothing he can do. It's a matter of, I think, West Coast going man on man.
Down to the 92nd mark, remaining quarter number 1. Crows wouldn't want to concede a late one here. The defence has been good. Although the Eagles have got some space now, although again, Embley unsure. Fletcher now, can he find material on the lead? He does, but he's too far out. 2 kicks out from goal. Calls for the lead. Sampi perhaps. Cox getting in from the side. Taking the mark and will wind it up from 45 metres out to try and kick an important one for the Eagles.
Not to be too critical, Jared, but Neil Craig would not be happy with Matthew Clark's effort there. He should have definitely got a spoil on that ball.
Well, I reckon if Dean Cox was a mining stock, you would be ringing up your broker and saying buy, because he just has got incredibly better over 12 months, got an opportunity last year, and he just looks as if he's desperate to make a mark on this game.
Originally out of the Dampier Sharks in WA's Northwest, he fractured his cheekbone last month.
Mining territory.
Yeah, that's why I threw it in there. I'm backing you up here. We can't kick though.
Well, they've just dropped to 1 cent, Jared.
There's been a crash.
Sell.
Poseidon, Mark 2.
Oh dear. John Worsfold, however, is not amused. 14 points, Adelaide's lead, final half minute. Let's see if they can go the length of the ground in that period of time. Bassett to Clark. Nifty so far from the big man. Still going all right. Better get rid of it now. Target is Edwards. Chick wearing him illegally. That's a free kick. Should be advantage play on. That's very clever football by Begley. Gives them a chance. Long to the hot spot. Welsh is down there. Some holding on. Eagle free.
Bad vision by Begley. He had Welsh coming around the back. He would have been on his left foot when he turned around and had a shot at goal, but he just bombed it up. It was almost a bailout. Bit of early season nerves when you just want to get a few touches.
He might be still feeling the effects of Byron Pickett's bump.
Byron certainly is.
Sorry, and will be for a while. End of 1 on Easter Sunday in Adelaide. Crows 3-3, Eagles 1-1. That's going to be an arm wrestle.
Good start for footy. You would just be absolutely thrilled if you're an Adelaide fan. You turn up for the first game. You've gone out in round 1 of the Wizard Cup. Lots of question marks, plenty of hope. One of your main men hasn't really had a big impact, and you look up on the scoreboard and you're more than 2 goals in front of a side that people are fating as a premiership chance.
I'm sure West Coast are disappointed with the way they've gone, but Adelaide would probably be a little disappointed that they're not further in front.
It's 3-3 to 1-1 here at Amy Stadium, quarter time on Easter Sunday.
At last, Monday nights are back to normal.
I reckon you sat here, Mike, last year and argued the reverse 6 or 7 times.
The boundary umpire chickens out, and it is just a terribly wrong decision.
This week, the boys welcome Rodney Eade, the man at the helm of the Doggies revival. What better way to spend Monday night than on the couch, live from 8:30 Eastern.
Takes the pressure off with 48 months interest-free on Now. Yes, today's trends, tomorrow's technology. It's all yours now on 48 months interest-free at Harvey Norman. Lounges, dining, bedding, bedroom suites, everything electrical from big screens to coffee machines. All that's hot in digital cameras and desktops, phones and laptops, and so much more. Don't wait. Go Harvey Norman and start living now with 48 incredible months interest-free. Now that's a rate worth your interest. Good one, Harvey. Don't miss out.
LAPD SWAT is the most honored, most respected, and most professional police division in the world. Here's the SWAT of you now.
Enjoy the big hits and great goals.
Oh, good play, Cracker. Over to his brother.
As we unlock the Fox Footy Vault. Tuesdays on Fox Footy Channel.
From the Fox Footy Vault, Tuesday.
First game of the new season, always time for transition, getting used to the speed of it, getting rid of that nervous energy. And at quarter time, Scott Welsh, the key, 3 goals for the Adelaide Crows, has had 5 shots at goal, 3 goals to his return. Gardner with the lone Eagle goal. Plenty of touches in the midfield. Cousins and Fletcher leading the way for the Eagles. Braun and Cox have each had 7 possessions.
Jared, it tells a story, doesn't it? The fact that the West Coast Eagles on ballers are getting plenty of the ball, yet not on the scoreboard, because they're basically sharing it through the midfield, holding it up, chipping it around, but not getting it into the forward line quick enough.
It was a standout point. When you have a look at the high possession winners for Adelaide, Ben Hart and Dowdy. Well, Ben Hart, as we know, has been running through the middle, but certainly a defender. Welsh has got 5 possessions from a forward line. All shots at goal, could have easily been a high scorer. McGregor's had 5 possessions off the half back line. Down the bottom, you've had Rashudo with just 1 touch. You've had McLeod with 2 kicks and 1 handball. So, and Hudson, their ruckman, has only had a couple of possessions. So they really are sharing the load.
Crows by 14 points. Here's Wayne Schwass.
Jared and Wayne, what's really evident down here is there's one side absolutely committed in every facet of the game to their coach's instruction and game plan. I'm not suggesting for one moment the Eagles haven't come to play, but I don't think that they've adapted to how Adelaide have gone about implementing their new game plan. Tremendous hard running off half back, going through the corridor, down to an open forward line when a player like Scotty Welsh and Mark Stevens has plenty of space to work into. And I think that what we're seeing again is a replication of what happened with Carlton v West Coast in the Wizard Cup. West Coast had a lot more football in and around the midfield, but if you put tremendous pressure on the opposition, even as good as West Coast are, you can create turnovers. Now, one thing I think the Eagles have to do, work just as hard when they don't have possession as what they do when they do have the ball.
Thanks, Wayne. Wayne Schwass. Looking forward to his comments every Sunday throughout the 2005 AFL season. Not too far away from the start of the second quarter.
They push Brett Burton to a half-forward line.
Before we get this second term underway, 2 other matches being played elsewhere. Replays coming up. If you don't want to know the scores on those matches, look away now. Well, we'll keep you in suspense on what's happening at the MCG for just a little while longer. Second term underway. Crows to the right of screen. Hudson with the initial clearance. Braun in a foot race with Shirley, who's doing a bit of holding there, but fair enough, said the umpire. Judd with quick hands. Braun deep to the hot spot, in fact more to the pocket, and easy one for Bassett to get away from Lynch for a throw in.
One of the first one-on-one contests that we've seen West Coast have in their forward line. Great to see them getting it in there quicker, but Jared, if we thought this game was going to be won through the midfield, we were wrong. If you were to say Fletcher, Cousins and Brawl all have 9 possessions in the first quarter, you'd think they'd be way in front.
Yep.
Eagles deep in attack. There's a free, and it's going the Crows' way. Free kick count in the first quarter ran the Eagles' way 8-4. There have been a number of free kicks paid across the course of this weekend. The umpires ensuring that the rules that they have been preached upon, enforced in the opening round, and most people have been pretty happy with the way things have flowed. Hudson now, after getting his regulation time, the hurry on. Edwards. Running into space nicely today, the Crows. This is John Cock. Now, he might have Doughty doing the same thing here. He will. The kick just astray, and Doughty happy for the boundary line.
Probably just held it for a touch too long then, John Cock.
A lot of players have been cramping up this weekend as well. We saw notably the St Kilda players on a warm night in Brisbane Thursday night, unable to run out the game. We're having a close look at that in the second half. Banfield alongside of Rashudo, two tough men there. And Judd sees it over, another boundary throw in. As we mentioned, the Eagles' record here is horrible. Just 3 of 20 matches they've won. Their last win here came against the Power back in the 98 season. They've lost their last 8 overall, including a couple of finals matches. A scramble. Staker emerges. Judd's away. Kicks quickly. Lead is on, but through the hands of Lynch. Hanson doubles back. Rutten's under pressure. Kerr's in the vicinity as well. He's quick. Slips at the inopportune time. Boundary throw-in.
Well, that was a magnificent kick from Chris Judd. It was a tough one to mark, though, because it was coming in at a rapid rate of knots, but they're the ones that you just have to take.
Well, the disappointing thing there was Lynch. If you're going to go for those balls, the ball's got to come to the front so the on-ballers can crumb at your feet rather than let it go over the back.
Hudson. Well done. Edwards. Neat sidestep past Kerr. Good delivery for Rashudo. The run about the Crows game here, Burton. Backs himself to beat Chicken, does. Off the bounce, inside 50. A stumble from Welsh. Crowd thought a little bit of holding, but no whistle. Brett Jones, the footy.
Bringing the ball to the front, if you don't mark it as a forward, I suspect that is probably rule number 3 of Pagan's paddock.
Well, the only time you'd want it over the back is probably wet conditions when you have no real control over it, Sherrod.
Kerr, Bassett, Hudson. Well, happy to concede the behind. Let's hope they don't go under by a point. How is life in the coaching ranks, Wayne, given your part-time involvement with the Blues?
Well, after round 1, I'm in retirement, Clinton.
Was it forced? Did you get pushed?
Did Dennis call you on the set of your new program and half-time and give you a bait? What's happening here? From the kick back into play, Embley tied up by Matner. Henschel there as well. Will have a bounce, perhaps, eventually. We're all saying, come on.
I've been taking the credit for 4 weeks, so I have to take the bad, Jared.
I think that's what Dennis was implying when he did ring you last night. What's interesting is just the body language of the players. The Crows are clearly having a bigger go, if you want to put it in the football vernacular, and now it's just a question of whether the West Coast can shake that little bit of lethargy to the chair.
Hanson, good work, moving it out, down in Edwards to John Cock, and he's disposing of it well for Henschel. And just chip style play today. Shirley, short again, fraught with danger, but it comes off. Hudson for Henschel, that's a good ball. Now Matner. On the lead, Burton near the boundary. Good fist provided by Daniel Chick. Boundary throwing. This quarter just devoid of any fluency about it at the moment. 5 minutes in. Adelaide yet to trouble the scorers. And it's shaping up as being a defensive type day as Matera replaces Gardner for the Eagles. There's a push and it's paid.
There is that cliche that says statistics, damn lies and statistics, something along those lines. Wayne, at the moment, the West Coast are winning the hard ball, gets 9-4. Adelaide are winning the free ball, or the loose ball, gets 17-9. What does that tell you about statistics?
Well, the key indicators in football these days is the loose ball is the important one, the uncontested possession are the ones.
Burton's hurried kick at goal has grazed the post. It's a behind.
Well, you've got to say then that the statistics are telling you the facts of the match.
Glad we cleared that up.
A few years ago, Jared, the contested ball was the key indicator. Now it is uncontested possession through the midfield that seems to be the key indicator whether you win or lose.
And why do you think that's changed?
Because we're playing the game like soccer.
Hunter towards Hanson, wide of him, becomes a foot race. McGregor pursuing Hanson, didn't give up on the chase, forced an error out of bounds on the full.
To clarify that, Jared, I mean we don't kick to contested possessions anymore. We kick to uncontested possessions, down back through the midfield, and even going forward, as you see right now.
Bassett happy to go short for Ben Hunt. The four-time All-Australian, just 30 years of age, game number 277. An impressive feat. A man of great durability. Matner for Edwards, who's seen plenty of it in this quarter.
The Adelaide Crows have brought that from deep in defence, probably 6 or 7 possessions, and West Coast haven't looked like touching the ball.
They're definitely working harder, and I think that's where they're winning the loose ball. They're just working into space, working in numbers, and they're just being able to link their possessions together, and they're getting it into the forward line, as you've pointed out a couple of times, when they've been able to isolate one in a one-on-one contest, and generally the player's been able to take a chest mark.
Ugly looking scrap here, has to be a free kick, and paid. Crows get it. Hudson will be the recipient. Up close and personal.
And I guess with running loose ball, the marking tally also mounts up, and Adelaide have taken 11 marks. Most of them are chest marks. West Coast have taken just 3.
Hunter down the middle. The fly from Butler goes unrewarded. Johncock with the hand pass. McGregor harassed out of it on the first occasion. Got it onto Matner. Well done. Had to tap it out under the new rules. Got it to Riley. McGregor towards Edwards.
That's no chest mark.
That's a good leap now. Welsh will lead out, running forward, however, is Burton. Oh, he's topped one there and will get a free kick and have a shot at goal. Adam Hunter, the man who infringed. It'll be 50, a certain goal for the Crows.
It astounds me that with the ball that Ben Hudson had here earlier, it was held up. West Coast players aren't getting back to help out their defenders.
Yep.
There's still one-on-one contest. You see Brett Burton running into space in the forward line. Their forward line is just so much more open, and as we see Ben Hudson, who has played terrifically well, come off.
Burton converts. First goal of the second quarter. Crows out by 20 points here on Fox Footy, live and exclusive around Australia.
So what you're saying, Wayne, is that the midfield of the West Coast are happy to run one way but not the other?
Well, the Adelaide Crows are basically getting back into their defence to help out their players, but West Coast aren't doing the same.
And Brett Burton continues to be a problem. He's been pushed to that half-forward line, and that was a courageous marking attempt.
99th game for Brett Burton, the milestone next week at the Telstra Dome on Sunday against Collingwood, his 100th game. He's given the Crows a 20-point lead here at Amy Stadium.
In fact, Burton's pushed up on the wing again. He is being marked by Braun. I just wonder whether Embley's not a better matchup for them with the way the game's going. Burton is just too dangerous, and Embley can go with him forward or back.
I think you'll find that Matner's tagging Embley.
So put him over there and break the tag.
Eagles have to get the next one, but it's Rashudo. Kick partially smothered though. Chick for Cousins. Runs into a wall. Impressive. Embley. Too slick for Chick. Could be costly. Skipworth under pressure. Did well. Got it out for Dowdy. Nice ball, Rashudo. Now the Crows forwards. Welsh on a lead. Rashudo in his direction.
Oh, it's a good mark.
And paid.
That is a great mark. There's a brilliant kick also coming in.
Well, one of the toughest marks to take in football when you lead straight at the kicker. Also one of the toughest kicks to do. Mark Rashudo, terrific kick, but to mark it out in front like that, terrific hands.
And just not enough on the reach from Brett Jones. So here's Scott Welsh with 3 goals, 2 alongside of his name. Given there's only been 5 goals kicked for the match, here's the dominant forward. Can be against a slight breeze here, and it pushes it out and holds it up. You can really see it catch it there. Gee, dangerous ball here. Will the Eagles concede behind? Not yet. And Staker out of West Broken Hill towards half-back for Braun, who juggles into the mark. Just gets rid of Burton. Umpire Stephen Grun was right there. Staker again. Not a good kick. Could be costly. Loose men on the rebound. Welsh all alone wants it in the goal square. The kick is shorter though. And now Mark Stevens will have a look. Although, as I said, against this breeze, 50 metres would be right on the edge of the range. He hurried back because 40,000 people were saying Scott Welsh is alone in the goal square. But he'll now go back to back himself in.
Brett Burton and Braun's match-up is an interesting one because Braun's had 9 possessions, Burton 7, but Burton's been so much more damaging.
Well, I think we've already established a quarter time that the number of possessions that their midfield are getting doesn't really add up to goals on the board.
Mark Stevens re-signed for just 1 year, only after surviving the first stage of pre-season for the 2005 campaign. Can he kick it just on 50 against the breeze? He can, but he's not straight. Hooking it, trying to get the extra distance. The Crows' lead is just 21 points, and despite Adelaide being on top here, Jared, Andrew McLeod struggling to get on top of his matchup with Tyson Stenglein. Just the 3 possessions for McLeod so far.
Well, I guess everybody in sport has their own Roger Federer, and I guess his great mate in Blake Hewitt has got his problems, and we all have somebody you just cannot get on top of, and maybe, well, Stenglein could be that person for Andrew.
Here's Kerr on half-back. And ball over the top for Braun. Eagles haven't been inside 50 for a while, but this is a better build-up. Fletcher for Kerr. Can the midfield start to generate some run? Well, they're making hard work of it. Jones back for Fletcher. Out wide, Butler. Now Braun running into traffic. Well, that was an opportunistic dive. Butler to the pocket for Matera.
Well, they went the hard way about it, Jared. They mucked around with it and eventually got it to the exciting Matera.
That was almost a snapshot of the way they played last year, with Matera just lurking and coming around the back. Through the pre-season with Lynch, though, almost he straightened them up and made them come down the middle of the ground, and that avenue has been blocked completely by the midfield of Adelaide.
And an important goal for the Eagles as Phil Matera kicks his first for the year.
Well, they're just hanging on, aren't they? They're not playing well. They are only 15 points down, so it's certainly not a hell of a lot of a gap. And Hickley kicking with this wind, if they can just put 5 minutes of footy together, they can be well and truly back in the game by half-time. There he is, an ageless Phil Matera.
61 goals for him last year, Matera. Now he's first. And the margin just 15 points halfway through this second quarter. Clark contesting the centre bounce for the Crows and following it up impressively. Going long inside the 50. Henschel eyes for the football. Edwards caught by Chick. Good tackle. Ball still alive. Hunter. Kerr being harassed by McLeod. Can he get away? Yes. And then kicks the spiral talk towards the wing where Johncock reading it well. The ball carries though. Danger here if Wirrapunda keeps his feet. And he does. Looks good. Caught. Got it on to Fletcher. Just moving it along quickly, the Eagles. Wirrapunda now. Good ball. Cousins. Trapped on the boundary line. Pops it up. Matera's got to beat hard here. Unlikely. And he hacks his arms out and gives away a free.
Fletcher just... he was really looking at some petrol tickets there, and he's just taken the advantage of the interchange being so close, and Embley's come onto the ground.
Hart for Matner. Kerr makes him earn it. Andy Stadium just about filled to capacity on this Easter Sunday. There were only a handful of general admission tickets available before the match started today, and most of the members have arrived as Matner kicks to the wing. As we have a look at some of the numbers, the clearances this quarter, Adelaide's way 6-3 as Embley for Banfield. Hunter now wants to try and get some pace about it.
Jared, I just feel a change coming over the game. As you can see there, the ball has been kicked to a contest at Adelaide's half-forward line. I just feel that they're playing a little bit more one-on-one. There's a few more contests around the midfield and around the ground, and all of a sudden, West Coast seems as if they're starting to get on top.
And Hunter will be advanced with that 50-metre penalty, perhaps to within goal-kicking range with the breeze at his back. He kicked just one goal last year, the defender, but a very legitimate chance here, and that could be a costly 50-metre penalty for the Crows. This to bring the margin back to single figures. Distance should not be a problem. The accuracy is good as well. Hunter gets a goal. The Eagles get 2 in a row.
Well, you're spot on there, Wayne. The one-on-one aspect has really made the game less free-flowing, so both sides now are effectively playing the same game plan. So it may just, I guess, bog down into a real slope fest, but it's really the only way that the Eagles are going to come back into this match.
As we look at the flags here at Amy Stadium, though, there does seem to be quite a breeze going their way.
Probably worth at least a couple of goals.
Crows by 9 points. Schwatter, how's that breeze boundary side?
Well, it's actually not having a great effect on the game at this stage, Clint, but what's noticeable down at ground level is starting to put a lot more pressure on the opposition when they don't have the ball, the Eagles.
Banfield, quick hands for Stenglein. Carries to centre half forward. Hanson's going to be held up by Rutten, a bounce.
Probably on that occasion, Hanson would have been better advised to knock the ball on. He was always he was surrounded by Crows, so as soon as he landed, he was going to be tackled. A couple of the Crows on the rotation.
Crowded centre half forward zone for the Eagles.
Make that Eagles.
Yeah. I was worried about your colour coordination there as Cousins chips to the wing for Kerr. Should keep it going here. No one on the mark. Matera had a step and a half on Hart. Gets met solidly to win a free kick.
Phil Matera's work rate then was absolutely sensational. He started in the centre where the ball up was. He ran all the way back around towards goal and then ends up getting the ball in the forward 50. Great work rate, Phil Matera.
Plays on. Gardner's kick smothered. Matera's opponent Hart with the footy under pressure. Chip kick for John Cocker Beauty.
Give the guy a rap and he kicks into the man on the mark, George.
Welcome to the media. Commentary box fraught with danger on that front as Skipworth drives towards the wing. Ill-directed. Daniel Kerr with the mark. Bit of kick to kick now.
And all of a sudden West Coast playing exactly the same way the Crows were playing in the first quarter. They're getting numbers back. They've got free possessions coming off half back and through the midfield. And it's become a contest.
Getting some confidence too. That will come back. No advantage there. Well, the umpire deeming Stenglein must be the recipient of that free kick.
Wirrapunda has been pushed forward too.
So Tyson Stenglein, man who played 106 games in an Adelaide jumper, switching it back for Jones.
Chris Judd just 5 possessions, McLeod just 3. So the two most talented midfielders on the ground, I guess, along with Rashudo and Ben Cousins in that category, really having no influence at the moment.
And one of the guys that often gets overlooked, Chad Fletcher, up to 13 possessions already.
Banfield 60 out left half forward. Will he bomb it long to the hot spot, hoping for a mark or a crumbed goal? He will. Tough to pluck this out of the air. Now at ground level, McLeod. Little stutter step, blazed away. Jones and Welsh. Eagles win out. Quick hands. Now Kerr. Chip kick round his body. Gardner's going to have McGregor trying to spoil, and doing so effectively. Boundary throwing.
Well, the change in the game you talk about is reflected by the possession numbers, Wayne. Since Brett Burton's goal, which was at the 8.5 minute mark, the disposals have been Adelaide 14, the West Coast 40. So it's almost up to 3-1.
And that's just them getting numbers back, chipping it through half back and also through the midfield. But we can see a break.
Bode long to Stevens, spoiled by Glass. Now Kerr seeing plenty of it this quarter. Look out, opposition closing fast. Staker also under enormous pressure. Hunter could be a costly turnover potentially. Bode getting it on. Stevens getting rid of his man. Loose men forward for the Crows. Mark taken by Welsh.
He's done well there, has Drew Banfield. He left his man, he pushed out and he held him up. He brought him to the ground, which has just forced him into having a shot for goal from around the 45-metre mark, 50-metre mark, rather than just chipping it over.
Because Rashudo, as you saw in the goal square there momentarily against glass, had peeled away from the contest and was open until Banfield held Welsh up.
Terrific play by Mark Stevens. Stood up in the tackle, didn't let the ball go, and basically broke free and was able to deliver to Scott Welsh unmanned.
Crows with just the one goal in this second quarter, kicked by Burton 13 minutes ago. Welsh lining up for his fourth. The distance 49 metres out on the kick. And again he's spraying it. This time to the right. He's kicked 3 goals 3.
He just got far too close to the man on the mark there. Most forwards have, all forwards have routines, and he definitely didn't follow one then.
Low scoring, 4-6 to 3-2. Less than 6 minutes from half-time. The Eagles electing to go down the centre corridor. Wonderful kick in Embley now. There's Braun appealing for it short. Elects to go wide. That's good option. 2 men out there. Staker supporting Gardner, who marks. Kicks quickly to half forward. Chicken full stretch. Couldn't hang on. Still feel like the game could break open one way or the other. As Chick stretches all 9.5 fingers to try and take it. Margin 10 points. Skipworth off the side of the boot. Will stay in, but Cousins marks anyway. But again, as he looks up, he sees that there's 29 other people in the Eagles' half of the ground.
A bloke like Cox is so valuable. That's a push out. Had to get a free kick.
And the mark is paid to Embley. And would have to kick at 55. And as we mentioned, down the corridor with the breeze at his back could be a chance. Here it is again.
What's behind the big push out? If it wasn't Embley talented enough to take the mark, Cox would have got the free kick. So once again, kicking to the contest has drawn the opportunity.
That's where Embley becomes so valuable. He's a winger on baller that can go forward and take a mark like that. He's a valuable asset to the West Coast Eagles.
Missed 5 games, 6 games, in fact, with a knee injury last year. Slipped to 8th in the best and fairest, but is highly regarded in this group. Trying to make it a 4-point game. Gives it a ride. It'll carry to the line and drift away. Help through for just one behind.
And that's the sort of result you'll get. If you keep getting opportunities from 50 metres out, you're not going to get a great result. 1 in 2 will be about the average across the, or less perhaps even across the competition.
Hard towards Hudson flying. Another ugly scrap will force another ball up. A real stagnant arm wrestle this. Pressure on the defence. And the forward line's devoid of too many opportunities. Henschel bangs it away. Becomes a one-on-one. Stevens and Glass. Now McLeod. Met quickly though. And the interception was nice by Butler. Hunter, Embley. Will go long to Braun on the outer wing. Drops the mark he'd normally take. Has time to recover. Wants to get it to Gardner at half forward. And the big fella can run onto this. Bassett was going the other way looking for a man. Gardner long towards the goal square. Matera waiting down. Can he get there? No. One behind.
Great work by Ben Hudson to push back into the hole for the long kick, and his attack on the footy today has been nothing short of amazing. He's really changed his whole approach to the game, and great to see for a 26-year-old that got a late start in footy, Jared.
Well, it's a great story that 26-year-olds can still be plucked from nowhere, if you like. And Rhett Biglands, I guess, he's a talented player. He'd been the first ruck for half a dozen sides in the competition. If they've got that level of ability to come in, it augurs well for them.
Oh, was that a push? Yeah. Cox has given away the free. He's taking it personally as well. John Cock to the outer side. Here's Bassett. Less than 3 minutes to go. Andrew Embley getting plenty of the ball in the last few minutes. Bassett, unsure. Hart drifting forward. Good run. Now, this will be the important ball. Elects to play on with a hand pass. Bode closes to 60. Goes short. Rashudo charging out. Didn't get a favourable bounce. And now the Eagles on the counter-attack. The red boots shining in the sun. Chris Judd towards Wirrapunda. The bounce awkward for Henschel. Wirrapunda basketball style, keeping it alive, dancing his way through several Crows. Swinging onto the right, going towards Matera. He waited back. Now, can he avoid John Cock? Good tackle! Holding the ball. Advantage play on. Burton from half-back. 2 minutes from half-time. A goal either way would be vital. Burton grubbers it over for a boundary throw.
And stiffy John Cox saved Ben Hart. Ben Hart run all the way down the ground, did the right thing. Matera didn't chase him, but come back and John Cock to tackle Matera. Just great stuff covering for his teammate.
And the legs don't move just quite as quickly when you haven't had that preparation.
That's right, Jared.
See, Embley has moved on to Burton. I think it's a much better matchup.
Edwards. Wide, but effective. And Rashudo now. Tough place to kick goals from here, Wayne.
I can tell you both that this is the toughest pocket to kick goals at Amy Stadium.
Why?
Because the wind blows across the face, it'll push it from right to left. Hence, you have to start the ball at the right goal post or pass it off.
Pass it off. And Henschel, the responsibility. Awkward kick, lands effectively. Now Skipworth marks, pops one from glass, 50-metre penalty, certain goal for the Crows. Adelaide shouldn't go on with this because they'll have a free in the goal square. And we've seen umpires before reverse decisions for contact to the face. Hayden should just go down there, complete the formalities, and get the goal on the board.
I'll finish that off, Clinton. You do have to kick the ball hard at the right-hand post because the wind actually blows it from right to left, hence away from the goal. So very difficult pocket to kick from.
Skipworth kicks the goal. The Crows out by 14 points. Just getting the all clear. They want to go on with it again, does Glass, and confirmation of a goal. Plenty of fodder for On the Couch every Monday night, preceded by White Line Fever. There's a lot of talking points this weekend here on Fox Footy.
Well, that's the fourth goal from 50-metre penalties, Clinton. Two each side, and probably lucky this was only a 50-metre penalty. Just missed. Glenn Schultz, our number one stats man, as always, on top of things.
And then some. Final minute, opening half, Easter Sunday at Amy Stadium. Home team by 14 points. Would be satisfied with this.
Well, that was
one more.
Classic, I reckon, of the body language of these two teams, of the mindset. Burton just ran through two Eagles players. He wanted the ball more.
Here's Burton with 50 seconds to go. There's time. Shirley closing. 45 out. Goes to the goal square. Welsh in a wrestle. It hits the post. That would have been something.
Pretty good lead, though, coming into the siren. Wayne, given that the Crows are going to come out with a couple of goal bruise advantage at their backs.
I think West Coast have actually closed the game down, definitely back in this, but the last 5 minutes, Adelaide back on top.
Chick's got a fly, forcing it over, and the clock will stop with 23 seconds remaining before the siren. Just to the Eagles' attacking side of centre wing, Ben Hudson and the bushranger-like beard. Boundary throwing, 15 points, the Adelaide lead. Is there time for a break either way? Yes, there is. Staker towards Hanson. Couldn't hang on. Still time, Eagles. Hanson with 10 seconds to the pocket. Cox the target. Bassett with courage did well. Hart caught. Sampi good tackle. Judd dangerous. 4 seconds to go. Tied up. Ball going nowhere. Half time. Good game of footy by way of its competitiveness and closeness on the scoreboard. although perhaps not a great deal of finesse at times.
Clinton, you won't see that too often. Chris Judd pinned. Jared, he often gets clear of those type of tackles, but Matthew Bode, great tackle towards the
edge. He's got great core strength, hasn't he? Usually can shake them off with those powerful hips, like a Robert Harvey has done for more than a decade. But as you said, it was a magnificent tackle. He's been tackled and pinned to just 7 possessions in a half a footy. That's a great job.
Crows by 15 points. We'll talk more about it right after this.
Monday, the MCG plays host to a fierce encounter as Collingwood takes on the Western Bulldogs. Don't miss a second of it. Uninterrupted, siren to siren. Collingwood v the Western Bulldogs Monday on Fox Footy Channel.
Whatever happened to the real Australia? The Australia where the only high-rise on the beach was temporary. Where it was harder to find a noisy spot than a quiet one. Where the only things colouring the water were fish. Well, I got news for you. The real Australia is still here. Come and see the real thing. Come and see the real thing. Come and see.
First it was the mortgage, then it was Sally's education, but lately it's the phone bill that's been giving me nightmares. That is until I discovered Engine Voice Box. Simply connect one end to a broadband cable and the other end to a phone. Flat rate, untimed 10-cent local and capital city calls, great rate on international and mobile calls, and engine-to-engine calls are free of engine charges. You can make massive savings. No more nightmares.
Call 1300 305 000 to make massive savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Catch all the action live with the Swans 4-match Super Pass. Get a reserved seat to 4 of the biggest games of the season. A free supporters cap, plus travel to all 3 Telstra Stadium games. Get on board from just $89 and cheer the red and white in 2005. Call Ticket Tech now.
Are you tuned into your television? Your Entertainment and Listings magazine is full of interviews and program highlights, as well as a comprehensive daily viewing guide. This month, Molly Meldrum catches up with diva extraordinaire, the divine Miss M. We expose the myth behind the glory in commemoration of the 90th anniversary of Gallipoli. Uncover the secret to the perfect digital photo with a how-to channel exclusive. And star of the long firm Mark Strong tells us why bad guys are the best. Your Entertainment and Listings magazine. We've got you covered.
Anthony the Man Mundy.
When it comes to sport, competing, I'm as confident as they come.
In the fight of his life.
But it's going to be the hardest mountain that I've got to climb. He's my Everest.
A chance to reclaim the world title from the Danish hitman Mikkel Kessler.
I'm just getting better and better.
Witness from a ringside seat, Mundine v Kessler for the WBA Super Middleweight World title. Wednesday, May 11 at the Sydney Entertainment Centre. Call 136 100 to book now or visit Ticketmaster7.com.
It's time to check in to the final round. The Matrix Revolutions comes soon to Movie 1.
Wednesday on AFL Love Match with host Rebecca Wilson.
Find out how your AFL stars react under real pressure.
Former Demon Anthony McDonald battles it out against young Bulldog pup Brad Murphy.
Where would you find a tapas bar? Yes, dogs.
Sewing kit. AFL Love Match, a real test of teamwork. Wednesday on Fox Footy Channel.
Half-time at AAMI Stadium, and it's the Crows leading by 15 points, 5-7 to 3 goals for Adelaide, starting with the opening 3 goals of the match inside of 7 minutes, kicked by Scott Welsh. Welsh unable to add to that tally despite having 3 shots at goal. So he's kicked 3. Burton and Skipworth 1 each for the Crows, while for the Eagles, Gardner, Hunter and Matura all singles. As you can see there, the Eagles midfielders winning plenty of the ball. The list headed by Andrew Endley with 15 touches, Fletcher 14, Braun 13 as well. They are getting plenty of the ball, Wayne, through the course of that midfield, but largely ineffective. There's not a lot happening up forward for the Eagles.
Oh, exactly right. I think the reason for that is they're not getting the ball in there quick enough. The Adelaide Crows are getting numbers back, which makes it difficult. And when they do get the ball in there, the Adelaide Crows are basically running it out.
Let's have a look at some of the highlights from the first half. Tyson Stenglein, as we said, 106 games in an Adelaide jumper. Got a warm welcome back from his former teammates, but at the other end of the ground, it was the Scott Welsh show early. Soccer off the ground after just 3 minutes. Crows were on the board first, and as we mentioned, he started the season as well as you can possibly hope to. 3 goals in the opening 7 minutes.
Exactly right. The Adelaide forward line in the first quarter was just so open. They were pushing numbers back. They were running through the midfield, and Scott Welsh reaped the benefits of all of that and kicked 3 first quarter goals.
And does the breeze play a factor with the style of game? Because both clubs ran it when they're going to that scoreboard end, longer, direct down the centre.
Yeah, look, we probably give the West Coast Eagles a little more credit than they deserved in the second quarter because they did have the win. The game did close down a little, but I thought towards the end of the second quarter that once again they got on top, even though there was probably a 1 or 2 goal breeze going their way.
Phil Matera kicking a goal there for the Eagles. This got them back to within 15 points. And then Adam Hunter, the recipient of a 50-metre penalty, getting the Eagles back to a single-figure margin before Hayden Skipworth closed it out. If you can offer Neil Craig at the start of the match a 15-point half-time lead, there would be no worries he'd take that.
I think he'd definitely take that, and just goes to show you that we all thought this game was going to be won and lost in the midfield. And look, West Coast Eagles have had a lot more of the ball through the midfield than Adelaide, yet Adelaide are winning quite comfortably at half-time.
Confirmation here of the all clear. A little bit of altercation, a little bit of feeling between these two clubs. No report on that incident, but like many, it will be no doubt had a look at by Peter Schwab and his team. Top 10 leading ball winners on the ground. 5 of the top 6 are Eagle players. No Chris Judd in that list. Just 6 touches to half-time.
No, Judd and also McLeod have been very quiet. I think Judd 6 possessions, Ender and McLeod 5. And you know, if you had have said that before the game, we would have laughed you off camera, Clint. Look, they're two of the best players in the competition, and we come to see those guys play well. And look, they haven't lived up to that so far. This game.
Can almost hear the headline writer saying Brownlow hangover already. 5-7 to 3-4 Crows way at half-time. Back in a moment here at AB Stadium.
At last, Monday nights are back to normal.
I reckon you sat here, Mike, last year and argued the reverse 6 or 7 times.
The boundary umpire chickens out, and it is just a terribly wrong decision.
This week, the boys welcome Rodney Eade, the man at the helm of the Doggies revival. What better way to spend Monday night than on the couch, live from 8:30 Eastern.
We're here in Melbourne to relive a classic footy moment that has it all.
And who else could give us all this?
Who else but the maestro? Hey, James.
Hey, guys.
All right, so it's Essendon 131, West Coast 131. 30 minutes and 48 seconds gone.
Umpire doesn't ball up and it's on.
He's got it.
Hey, maybe Murphy should umpire.
I'm not the umpire, I'm bully.
Bully gets it out the head.
Wait, the fairy tale's complete. James Hard, you are a hit.
Yes. Get a hard.
James Hard, yeah.
You're gonna die.
I've never seen anything like this. His ass is immense. Dougie just refuses to drink any other bourbon. You know what we're witnessing here tonight? We're witnessing a man staying true to the world's finest bourbon.
Want the ultimate Australia's Next Top Model fix? For the first time ever, Australia's Next Top Model-a-thon.
You guys have to start thinking that you're a bit bloody gorgeous.
The entire series.
What are you?
Pussy. The whole enchilada.
She is boring as batshit.
The whole box and dice.
I'm going to be a fully sick model.
You're a stuck-up little mom.
I could
actually win this? I hope so, Sam.
Complete with nasty home truths and never-before-seen footage the girls didn't want revealed. All in one glamour-filled day.
You are one rung up from a checkout chick. This is a real-life Cinderella story.
Check out the Easter buns, courtesy of Fox 8.
It's like the girls' version of Blue Steel.
They're free, along with the tanties and tears.
I'm not fat. I really hope you piss off this week.
Don't miss Erica Haynitz presenting the entire must-see sizzling reality of Australia's Next Top Modelathon for the first time ever. Easter Monday from 10, exclusive to Fox 8.
Wednesday, on another exclusive Fox Footy feature, find out how AFL football is making dramatic inroads into the American sporting culture on Aussie Rules USA. Join Tiffany Cherry as she takes an exclusive look at the 2004 US Footy National Championship.
My dream to get drafted, maybe be the first American drafted.
Plus, we have unlimited access as Kevin Sheedy molds a new generation of AFL footballing talent.
I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 or 20 years. We're starting to get pretty excited.
Aussie Rules USA, Wednesday, exclusive to Fox Footy Channel.
And for some of them, it will stay with them forever, the day they played on AAMI Stadium on Easter Sunday. Welcome back, 5-7 to 3-4 Crows Way at half-time. We'll be chatting about some of the issues in the AFL each Sunday afternoon at this time, at half-time of our AFL Sunday football match. And there's been only one issue, it appears, of this Easter long weekend football. New twist in the Sunday Mail in Adelaide today. Nick Riewoldt, tough guy or sook? That's harsh.
I think it is harsh, in fact, Clinton. I think it's been an emotional issue, this one, a very divisive issue. We can have a look at this replay now, and it just really was an extraordinary reaction to 15 seconds of an AFL season, albeit in the opening game. We know that Riewoldt went down, the trainer was there, a couple of players came in, and I guess a number of questions have been asked, most notably, when is a player fair game? And I think the headline you just showed referred to the reaction of a young man who is obviously clearly an emotional guy, but the same headline wasn't put up when James Hird, on the back of another injury last year, was seen to be crying on the boundary line. So I think that's a bit of an overreaction.
And the AFL will obviously have their view at some stage early in the new week, we will believe. A subtle phone call to the Brisbane Lions, and that'll be the end of the issue?
Look, I don't think there's any way that the AFL can go any further. I think, having found out post Friday night that Nick Riewoldt signalled the trainers away, he was almost signalling to the footy world that he was back as fair game. To me, it didn't look great. I didn't see him signal the trainers away, and it didn't look good. I mean, it was probably 40 seconds or 30 seconds too early for the players to come in. But, I mean, that's a judgment thing. They weren't to know that he had a broken collarbone, and if he didn't have a collarbone, we wouldn't be having this reaction. So, out of the grey area, we've had an enormous debate, and it will probably go on until the AFL clear it up.
Good fodder for Monday nights anyway, as is the Brownlow medal debate. You wrote in the Herald Sun on the weekend, fair's fair, boys. Mike Sheehan had written in the paper during the course of the week that he wanted the fairest element taken out of the Brownlow Medal Award. You argue, no, let's keep the fairest and best, the best and fairest in there.
Well, I think we know that the game has entered into a new era as a professional era, but I don't think it needs to lower its standards, albeit they can be subjective standards like this notion of fairness. But I think in an era where best only has been perhaps arguably what has underpinned the drug culture in the Olympic athletes, where if you lose your respect for your opponent, if you lose the respect of the notion of fair play, then I think perhaps the likelihood of you losing your way as a sport is heightened. So from my point of view, for what it's worth, I think fairness is something, an ideal that we should continue to hold up there to give our kids something to aspire to.
And you're still happy with the umpires determining the votes?
Look, it's an unusual award. It's always had anomalies. The tribunal system has thrown up an anomaly. But to me, there's been some great players not win it. There's been some players with great tribunals, in inverted commas, win it. But it is the umpires' award, and I think it's got one thing that most haven't, tradition.
Yeah, votes here to be won because it's a tight game. 5-7 to 3-4. Crows in front. Second half coming up next.
Can't Catch every game? Then watch The Winners.
We'll recap on everything you need to know on every game.
Tonight from 7:30, get all the highlights, stats and post-match reaction from every game with this week's host, Jim Wilson.
It's footy's ultimate wrap.
The Winners. Tonight at 7:30pm local on Fox Footy Channel.
We're here in Melbourne to relive arguably the greatest moment in grand final history.
Unbelievable moment.
And to help us, we have Mr. Wayne Harms. All right, it's 1979. It actually looks like the Pies are going to win a flag. That is, until Harmsy here comes to the rescue. You're going to come running in, slide along there, it's going to be wicked. Yeah, we like it too.
Go square! He does it to Sheldon! Go square! Yes!
All the action live with the Swans 4-match Super Pass. Get a reserve seat to 4 of the biggest games of the season. A free supporters cap, plus travel to all 3 Telstra Stadium games. Get on board from just $89 and cheer the red and white in 2005. Call Ticket Tech now.
Jungle Boy. Boom, 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 boom. I really don't like you. Yeah, well, I get that a lot.
Welcome to the Jungle. Sunday, April 10 on Showtime. Thursday.
Join me, your host Jason Dunstall, live and exclusive every Thursday night for all the latest team lineups and informed football opinion.
I reckon if they win this game, they make the 8.
Yeah, whatever you said, I wasn't listening.
If you've got nothing positive to say, don't say it.
Shake your head and go, yes, Barnaby, you're right.
Fox League teams, Thursday on Fox Footy Channel.
See the big men fly. Good to have footy back, huh? Hope you're enjoying your Easter weekend. Wherever you're joining us around Australia, second half about to start with the Crows 5-7-37 leading the Eagles 3-4-22. 2 other matches played today in the AFL. The Swans and the Hawks at the SCG and Richmond meeting Geelong at the MCG. Replays coming up for various stations after this, so if you want to treat those matches as live, look away now because here come the scores. Opening weekend of the season, Wayne always taxing on the legs. We saw the Saints tire on Thursday night. What do you think?
Absolutely, Clinton. It was quite noticeable in that second quarter there that both sides were starting to make more rotations. Weather conditions are trying at best itself, but you've also got to take into consideration it's a long cut grass. What that means is it absorbs the body and it takes a lot more energy out of the individual player. So probably what we'll see is the rotations through the bench increase a lot more. It'll really come down to one fact: who adapts a lot more to the conditions. This is where the conditioning training from both sides comes into play. I think the small details will determine the result of this match this afternoon.
Thanks for that, Wayne Schwass, former footballer, now horticulturalist, joining us at Amy Stadium. Crows by 15 points. Just before we get the second half underway, the Sunday Mail, that headline, Wayne Carey, Nick Revolt, is he a sook?
Well, look, there'd be a lot of players that would say he was. You look at a guy like Matthew Primus and others that have gone through some of the worst years of their footballing lives, 2 knee reconstructions in 2 years, and then to see a guy, look, he's going to miss 3 or 4 weeks, and look, the fact that he's been named captain, he wants to have a big year, the emotion of that, wanting to lead his side to a win in his home state, all of that combined is very disappointing, and to show that emotion, I would think footballers would be divided over whether he's a sook or just a new age guy. Jared?
I reckon one thing is certain: he will be slightly more ruthless, slightly more hardened because of it, because of this experience and because of headlines like that.
Second half about to get underway. Eagles to the right, Crows to the left. 4 premiership points are up for grabs here. Cox and Hudson, the ruckman. And the Eagles will be going with the breeze. What there is Rashudo upends momentarily his former teammate Stenglein. Now he wants to go on with it in the middle with Banfield. Well, early signs that the Crows have had some heated words behind closed doors despite an impressive scoreboard. Judd towards the wing. Cousins. Got a push. Advantage. Play on. Braun. Now Cousins, the skipper, to try and get involved. Good vision. Centering ball. Kerr the target. Now, Wirapunda's got into space out on his left. He had a look that way, and then Riley picked him up. So Kerr now. There's Embley on the lead. Kerr just going to chip it towards Hansen.
That's just playing into the Crows' hands. It's exactly what they want. You'd be better kicking it to the top of the square.
Wirapunda, good pressure on Rutten. Now, how nimble is he at ground level? He's caught up. Big tackle, hard, holding the ball.
50 maybe, no.
Hart quick to go, and why not? John Cock in space. He's got Riley down the line. Elects to go by foot. Riley can run here. Hinchell leading short. Elects to go over the top. Perry on the run. 45 out for a golden start for the Crows. Missing to the near side.
That would have hurt because they put plenty of energy into that opening 2 or 3 minutes. But have a look at this big hit with Stenglein and Mark Rashudo giving his former teammate a little bit of a welcome home to Amy.
Very good French. Just goes to show you once you step over the white line, no longer.
Hope he's got his insurance. Wirapunda to bring it back into play. 17 points. In fact, make it 16 the Crows' way.
Well, they kill you, these kicks. Absolutely rob you of confidence.
McLeod towards Rashudo. Still under pressure, the Eagles here, Hudson. Hand pass effective in the end. Edwards has time to steady. Goes for goal and kicks it. Handy break now for the home team.
Slow movement, Jared, into the forward line, yet they're able to get space. Edwards had a week there to kick that goal.
He did. I think this time it's the reverse of what the problem was earlier, that the Eagles players are pushing back to defend a hole and they're leaving people around the forward 50 that are free. When you're kicking with the wind, the forward 50 line is still very much a gettable mark.
Edwards' goal gives the Crows their biggest lead of the game.
It's amazing what 2 matches can do. The Wizard Cup final and just over half a quarter here. The Eagles are looking like they've got to find another gear, or they're just a shadow of the side that people are suggesting. were premiership chances.
Good advantage paid there, following the free. Where a punter's kick, though, is it marked by Hart? It is. And that was an important grab. Matera didn't think he hung on to it long enough, but that's hardly surprising.
Ben Hart read that so well. He read it so beautifully. He left his man well and truly before the kick was even delivered.
Having a terrific game down back, the veteran, 11 possessions and 4 marks as Edwards releases wide for Henshaw. His 3rd year of senior footy. Edwards running. He's the Crows' leading possession winner with 15. Riley delivers to the pocket. And good defensive work there, not fisting it away on that occasion. Darren Glass taking the mark. Now they'll effect the switch to Fletcher.
Done a good job, Darren Glass. His opponent, Mark Stevens, has had only a couple of possessions.
Yep, and just the 1 mark.
And he has been the focal point on a number of occasions.
Where will the Eagles' drive come from? Fletcher, perhaps. Is he off? He is. McLeod, always wary of the circumstances, does well to force a bounce. And Fletcher caught off guard. Cox getting first hand to it. Judd, oh, what a wonderful handball for Kerr. Again, targets Hansen, helped underneath it by Bassett. McGregor awkward looking. High tackle going against Shirley. Cousins seeing some of the footy in the 3rd term. Kerr's in plenty of space. Now they can build. Lead on from Embley. And he's got it. And now a shot at goal from 45 out at left half forward.
Embley took off a couple of metres behind Ben Rutten then, and within a matter of metres got in front and marked that quite comfortably, a metre in front of Ben Rutten.
Yeah, it was a good pass and a well-timed lead, and certainly it came into that forward 50 with more purpose than they showed in the first quarter when they were heading into the forward line.
Went to Ireland last year with the international rules team. Andrew Embley, wonderful kick for an Eagle goal. He's got his first.
And it's a real test for any side that comes here. Once you get behind at Amy Stadium, you've got the Crows playing good footy. They're playing with some confidence. To try and drag back a 4-goal deficit, or the best part of, is pretty tough work. If they can do that whilst kicking into the wind, they'd go into 3/4 time pretty confident. The challenge, of course, is trying to affect it.
Embley's first cuts the deficit to 16 points. Early stages in the 3rd quarter. Eagles haven't beaten the Crows here since 1996. Back in the centre, Cox for Braun. Spun into the Rashudo tackle, enable Hudson to gather. Good smother Banfield.
Oh,
We're a punter. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Matera away. Closes to 75. Target is Sampi, who's had a quiet afternoon. Bassett back there for the Crows. Now McGregor, and they've got the overlap on the outer side. Edwards in space. Rutten running with him. Can go back to Edwards if he can get a hold of it. Embley did well to slow them down. Still Crows with numbers. Riley.
And that was a classic example. The Crows players were prepared to run to the contest to assist. It was the extra numbers that took it away. The Eagles players sat back.
Matner eventually wheeling by Kerr towards half forward over the head of Burton. Worn tightly here by Braun. Good duel. Great duel. Play on the call. Let them play, says the umps. We'll have a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, you sum that up, Jared. They're getting numbers to the footy. You see Edwards running off half-back and Rutten at full-back running up to support him.
16 points. The Crows lead. They've got what breeze there is now at their back in this 3rd term. High one there. Adelaide free Rashudo.
And could almost stop it from here, Big Roo.
6 men back in the goal square. Now they split. Welsh provides the first lead ignored. Stevens.
Would you advise him to have a shot at this one, Brian?
The breeze has dropped off, but Roo has an almighty kick. He'll run around to the right to get a little bit extra distance.
17 goals. His return last season. Almighty kick. And it will land in the square. Eagles help it Back into play. Welsh elected to keep it in, and could be costly because Jones can clear the Eagles. Trainer got in the way, but Burton readjusted well. Marks stands up. Riley, good build-up. What's the delivery like? Not good. Stake of the spoil. Crows dangerous. McLeod. Stevens. Out wide. Johncock. They're all lining up. Hinchell now with the mark, and he can think about it.
Just a matter of time. They're just playing with so much fluency at the moment. It's a good spell now. I know that the Eagles got the last goal, but the Crows are the side that look like they're running the hardest.
They're squaring the ball well. They're using it. Their forward line's playing as a team within a team. And as you see here, Henschel getting an easy mark inside 50, which really sets the Adelaide Crows up for a good lead.
Started to emerge last year, and they'd be pretty keen for him to develop throughout the season.
22 years of age, born on Christmas Day 1982. Trent Henschel looking to restore the Adelaide lead at 22 points. You're right behind the kick, and you can tell it's not straight. A let off for the Eagles. Daniel Chick awaiting a return to the throw.
The Crows going a traditional 3-4-5 in the zone, Jared.
And it's, there haven't been a hell of a lot of kick-ins for the West Coast. They've had four. Adelaide have kicked 9 points, so I guess that was their 10th occasion they've had a crack at it.
Cousins now. This is where he likes it. Dancing down the outer wing on a couple of bounces. Sampi in space has got it. I mentioned he's had a quiet afternoon. This kick will be his first.
And Ben Hart, who's been so good in playing off his man, helping out his fellow backman, there actually got burnt by a couple of his teammates because they didn't cover for him when he was covering for them earlier on.
And now a very important kick for Ashley Sampi. 32 last year, including 5 in round 2 against the Power. He went on to win a car for the mark of the year. What's his kicking like? Pretty good. Eagles get 2 in a row, and they're back in business.
Just on that, Jared, that kick is a very dangerous kick that comes into the centre corridor, and a lot of coaches don't like it because if it gets balled, it's straight down the middle of the ground. But as you saw there, Ben Hart trying to protect the one down the line, but gets caught out the one that comes across the ground.
Yeah, it's high risk but high reward if you can pull it off. And great to see Ben Cousins doing this because the Eagles are going to need some outstanding efforts from a couple of individuals if they're going to win this match. Ben Cousins is the captain.
Ben Cousins has 18 possessions, including 7 contested balls won. Sampi's reward was a stint on the bench. 11-point game, folks. The Eagles closing now. Stingline forcing it. Here's Cousins lifting. Burton getting in the way that time. Heading towards the boundary, and we'll have a throw in.
Been a good couple of minutes by the captain of the West Coast. And a number of players for the West Coast are going to have to really just go up a notch, find a different level of involvement in this game if they're to win. Because at the moment, there's too many guys looking flattish. And if you continue that through, they're just going to end up with not the result they wanted. They've got an up and running, a fired Adelaide side to compete with at home.
McLeod paddling it for Johncock. Stripped of possession well by Staker. Butler kicks quickly. Touched off the boot, was it? Play on. Cox. Nimble skills from the big man. And he's kicked a wonderful goal. Take a bow, Dean Cox. A terrific goal. That's one for the winners every Sunday night here on Fox Footy. He's hooked that around his body, and the Eagles have got 3 in a row and are back within 5 points.
Andrew McLeod here is so sure with his hands, tried to give off a sneaky little handball, and the player receiving it purely wasn't ready, and hence great goal, Cox.
And he was excited about it, and justifiably so. Cox and the Eagles making a run now. 6-9 to 6-4. Centre clearance. Cousins. The skipper really lifting. Hanson, the target, has a couple to beat. Riley overruns it. Off the ricochet, Johncock under some pressure. Does he win a 3? Yes. Will it be 50? Yes. Matera went on with it. He'd heard the whistle. In fact, no, might not be a 50. There was an indication from one umpire that it may have been. Johncock away, meanwhile. There's the free kick, and he's away. He's running. 3 bounces. Down the centre corridor. Long to Edwards. Allows it to bounce. Or a punter didn't let him go. Well done.
He's lifted as well.
Yeah.
Good quarter.
The Eagles have looked more like the team we saw over the last month leading up to the season in this third quarter. Kerr's got Matera long. Tries to get it to him. He's got a double back. Not enough carry on the kick. And Bassett's in the way.
Butler's now picking up Burton, and he really is struggling to keep running the distance with him. But Burton is such an aerobic player that Butler's got a major challenge.
We're up under another touch, and Kerr coming up for possession number 18.
Cousins 7 possessions so far in this third quarter. He has slipped into top gear.
All of a sudden, those easy possessions through the midfield are becoming damaging.
And your point about them playing man-on-man is absolutely spot on. At the start of every centre bounce, we can see that both clubs have got 6 men in their forward line and 6 men in their defence.
Fletcher, 55 out to the top of the square. Matera waiting for the crumbs. Rutten does well. Big man with poise and a good finish for Hart. Now McGregor. Back to Hart. Long towards the wing. Hunter in front, can't get it. Cousins, ubiquitous at the moment. For Kerr, also finding plenty of the football. For Fletcher. Jones. Some spirit, some run about them, but that's a blazing away haphazard kick, and McGregor is there to relieve and finds Burton.
And Daniel Kerr's having some sort of quarter, 8 possessions for the quarter.
Gee, Burton took his full measure of time there as danger approached fast.
This is the bloke who needs to lift the Crows. They need 10 minutes out of McLeod, and they can set up a few goals.
Now they can go Burton. Clark to Shepherd. Burton lost it. Mattner in support.
Good strength.
On the left towards half forward for Perry. Bounce was kind. Slips the would-be tackler. Handball to Edwards. Snap towards goal. Across the face. Stevens won't get there. And Glass has bobbled it over the line for a throw-in. Wayne Schloss.
Well, the Eagles are certainly making a sort of charge at the Crows at the moment. They're doing it one man down. Andrew McDougall hasn't made his way back onto the ground or even the bench after half-time. And you suspect it has something to do with that knock he received to the right shoulder in the first quarter. I'll confirm that at 3/4 time.
Thanks, Wayne. Free kick to the Eagles from the throw-in. Kerr is just getting a mountain of touches on that outer side.
They pushed Chris Judd to the goal square. I think it's a good move. He looks just about spent. Needs a spell. But when the game is in the balance like this, you can't have your best players rotating off the ground. You've got to push them forward. Give them a rest in the goal square where they can still have an impact.
Kerr's kick out of bounds on the full. McGregor now from half back. 39,055 today's attendance on a beautiful Easter Sunday in Adelaide as McGregor drives to half forward. Hunter for Fletcher. To Butler at centre half back. Has time. Drifts it to Glass. Now, his options are few, so he goes short. Butler's told to play on. The kick not 15. Glass, great awareness of what was going on to come and provide the shepherd. But Burton's got it now. Crows have got a couple of loose men. Should go quickly, they do. Riley drops what he normally takes. Will get a second chance. And another error.
Good hands.
The Eagle half-back line, terrific. Cousins, the Polly Farmer-like hand pass. Out for Kerr. And he's finding an opening as well. High ball inside the 50. Crows with weighted numbers. The ball's still to be won, though. Dowdy, risky. Johncock for Rutten. Sampi desperate. McLeod collared. West Coast looking good. Kerr, chip around the body. McGregor. He was sandwiched between two of them. And he finds the line. Well done.
both sides would be disappointed with how they come into the forward line. Then you had loose guys. It was a mistake by Riley on their half forward line, a drop mark, and then an awful kick coming into the forward line when a guy was free, Jerry.
Yeah, that Matera just needed to be a normal 30-metre drop punt, and fatigue is really setting in for both sides.
They're pensive behind the glass, the respective coaches. We will have a bounce. 45 out from the Eagle goal. They have not led this match. They trailed earlier this quarter by 22 points. They're 5 points down. Crowded forward zone. Sampi, Gardner, Lynch, quiet afternoon. Caught. Throw. Adelaide free kick.
Blocked it up well. Both half-back lines or defences have been able to withstand almost certain goals.
Matner. Running with him, Burton. Closes and delivers well for Perry. Now, right on the edge of his range, will have to kick at 55 metres.
Have you seen a guy that runs as hard in a game, Gerard, than Brett Burton? He's look, we all know that the times he does for 5Ks is Olympic trial times and that sort of stuff, but often that's not reflected in the way they play. He's run a long way today.
And he's done a great job so far for the Crows.
Perry. Good kick. Great goal. What a goal! A steadier for the home team as Perry gets his first.
Swatter.
Just watching Brett Burton at ground level, you don't get to see it in that vision there, but he took off the moment the whistle was blown for a free kick, and as you said, Wayne, his opponent, young Butler, looked at Daniel Chick for some assistance. Daniel Chick was looking for a taxi. There's nobody on this ground at the moment from the Eagles' point of view that can go with Brett Burton for the Adelaide Crows.
Hard to find a cab at the best of times, sure. 11 points the lead. In the middle, McLeod, perhaps beginning to shrug his tag of Stenglein. 4-0 possession-wise in this third term. Adelaide the clearance. Hart going long. Inside the 50. Perry wrestled out of it. Stevens caught. Rashudo can't get clear. Kerr hurries it for the boundary line. We're Punda and Edwards pursuing. Not giving up. Well done. Begley now. Back for Bode. Long inside the 50. Glass in a wrestle there with Stevens. Stenglein gets the touch. Now Banfield can go short for Wirrapunda.
Well, there's a courageous effort there by Stenglein and an important one. That long bomb in at the moment is exposing the West Coast defence.
Time on third quarter. Less than 5 minutes from their final break.
Judd in the goal square. He just looms as a danger player.
Wirrapunda for Hansen.
Got to get it there, though.
G. Burton is everywhere. Remember, he carried a hamstring injury into this start of the campaign. Good pressure. Skipworth got it away. Look out. Danger in the form of Ashley Sampi, but Edwards having a terrific afternoon. The leading ball winner for the Crows with 18. Finds Bode. Should keep it moving. And does. Perry now. He's got Skipworth wide and half forward. Too far out to score is Hayden Skipworth, but if he can find a man here, they'll be well within range. Stevens, McLeod, Welsh and Rashudo are the four in the goal mouth for Adelaide. And it's all West Coast at the back of the pack. Banfield to Butler. No one on the mark so he can laconically jog away.
Got no one to give it to. They're just going to have to possess this footy.
Gardner. Likewise, bereft of options.
Well, they've got Lynch, who he's pushed up and he wants to jog back. He needs to push forward to give a marking option.
Wirrapunda for Matera. Matera, check, off the ground, missed it, Rutten, pressure, Matera, slipping, danger, caught, has to knock it out. Does so, check, to the goal square, Henschel. And it's a mark page. Gee, don't know whether it was 15, but good enough. Now Begley.
West Coast Eagles coming through the midfield. They look up and all that they see is a sea of Adelaide Crow jumpers.
Johncock almost stopping in slow motion. Wide for Skipworth. Now they can look to go. He can run and then either draw Fletcher and give it to Hart or go to Begley. Chooses a little longer, and it's a poor option, and it's Hunter in the way.
The fatigue is really making causing a lot of skill errors.
What a quarter from Daniel Kerr. Leading ball winner with 23 touches. Cousins and Fletcher also above 20. This is Hansen driving it inside the 50. Sampi the big lead. Edwards in front. Already taken one terrific mark today. Burton had to get it on quickly. Henschel backed himself. She found an opening too. McGregor can't take it. Kerr. Eagles are lining up. They're just bombing it in there, hoping that eventually the wall will break. Will it be now? Kick at ground level. Judd, look out. Caught. Shrugs the tackle. And Burton is back there doing it all, Brett Burton.
He's everywhere, the Burton is.
Not the chicken man. Burton away. He is everywhere. And he wants to go himself.
Reminds me of that kid at half-time taking on the whole field.
That's right, he was under instructions.
Oh. What price to go right away now in red time? Bode long to half forward. And Perry's got it. Too far out to score. Clock counting down. Crows' lead is 11 points. Perry. That's what he's looking at. Short for McLeod. Stengline wearing in close. McLeod's got it. Ran into Hunter. There was no tackle applied. He hurries the kick forward, and the Eagles again with numbers. This is Cox.
Casting your eye across the field, who do you think has got the most run in their league, Wayne?
Look, I think Adelaide are actually they've actually taken the ball 26 times for the game, 26 times more, I think, for the game inside 50. So something like that. Anyway, Gerard, I may have made a mistake. It may be 14 more times, but
significant difference.
Exactly right. So they seem to have the run, in particular, Brett Burton.
Well, there's some run and there's some time for the Eagles still. Hunter's kick to the 50. Hansen, though, against. Got two to beat, and he's in front, and he's got it. Still time. This is the important ball.
When you take marks like that, it reduces the running requirements. And they haven't been able to find people to take a contested mark, if you like, in that forward 50.
Well, he's too far out to score, and that clock is running down. Time off blown. Now back on. Lead is now Embley to the pocket. Has to mark it. Does. Will be a kick after the siren for Andrew Embley.
And he kicked one from almost exactly this position early in the quarter, from memory.
Wow. 11 points the deficit for the Eagles. They've kicked just 6 goals today. Andrew Embley kicked one of them earlier this quarter. This is a big one. It's tough from here. On the boundary line. Hometown fans trying to put him off. Kick on its way, missing. Negotiation between the boundary and goal umpire are behind, and our margin is 10 points.
Just to clarify that, Gerard, it was actually 14 to 13 inside 50. So I made a terrible mistake there.
No, I think that sometimes the inside 50s don't tell the full story. I think your eyes are telling you what you're indicating, and that is that the Crows are running the quickest. And the point I was making in an albeit roundabout way was that Neil Craig is the scientist. And maybe his background in physiology in this early part of the season is going to determine who runs out this game the best.
And we will find out on the other side of this break. It's the Crows leading by 10 points.
Monday, the MCG plays host to a fierce encounter as Collingwood takes on the Western Bulldogs. Don't miss a second of it. Uninterrupted siren to siren. Collingwood beat the Western Bulldogs Monday on Fox Footy Channel.
He's coming back. Not too many men will go 57 rounds with the catalogue man. He's a mess. He sure tests a man's ability to stay true. Dougie Buchanan could end this right now. All he has to do is take a sip of that average bourbon. Ancient being. You've ever seen anything quite like this?
Catch all the action live with the Swans 4-match Super Pass. Get a reserve seat to 4 of the biggest games of the season. A free supporters cap, plus travel to all 3 Telstra Stadium games. Get on board from just $89 and cheer the red and white in 2005. Call Ticket Tech now.
At HSBC, we're like the teams we sponsor. We're multi-skilled. We compete with big players around Australia and around the world. With a full range of banking products to get you over the line. That's why we're the world's local bank.
The Bunnings Warehouse Easter catalogue is out now with everything for your home improvement project. 30-piece drill bit set, just $6.98. XU1 210mm miter saw, great value at $49. GMC petrol generator, only $98. 4-litre British sealing white, a low $29.98. 450-gram gap seal, just $1.94 each. And everyone loves our handy gift cards.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Feeling the squeeze? Harvey Norman takes the pressure off with 48 months interest-free on now. Move up to glorious high-definition plasma with this amazing Panasonic deal. A huge 42-inch high-definition plasma panel, complete with bonus 5-year warranty and bonus high-definition set-top box. All for just $5,499. That's unbeatable value and only at Harvey Norman. Why wait? Buy now and start living today with 48 incredible months interest-free. Now that's a deal worthy of your interest. Good one, Harvey. Don't miss out.
Anthony the Man Mundy.
When it comes to sport, competing, I'm as confident as they come.
In the fight of his life.
It's going to be the highest mountain that I've got to climb. Did my Everest.
A chance to reclaim the world title from the Danish hitman Mikkel Kessler.
I'm just getting better and better.
Witness from a ringside seat, Mundine v. Kessler for the WBA Super Middleweight World title. Wednesday, May 11 at the Sydney Entertainment Centre. Call 136-100 to book now or visit Ticketmaster7.com.
Join us on Tuesday, a very slippery Pat Rover. No, he was the rat. Andrew Hughes. Plus, remember, that's supposed to be captain of Collingwood's premiership side, Maxie Richardson.
Grumpy Old Man, Tuesday on Fox Footy Channel.
Don't anyone ever say that big men don't enjoy kicking goals, and that one from Dean Cox, vital for the Eagles, one of 6 goal kickers to three-quarter time. The Crows have had 5 of them. Scott Welsh, his 3 goals came in the game's opening 7 minutes, quarter to play, and the 4 points are there to be won. Adelaide by 10 points. The Eagles with plenty of the ball through their key midfielders, Daniel Kerr, with stacks of it during the course of that third quarter. We showed you the final score earlier from the match at the SCG. The MCG result coming up now on Richmond and Geelong. If you want to watch the replay later on, best you look away now. Things at ground level. Here's Wayne Schloss.
Clinton, the Eagles, if there are a chance to run over an Adelaide side here at Amy Stadium, they'll have to do it one man down. Can confirm now that Andrew McDougall, unfortunately for the West Coast Eagle, has done a right AC joint. He's currently being assessed inside the rooms at the moment. Will take no further part. In actual fact, hasn't made his way back to the bench since half-time. If body language is anything to go by, half a dozen Eagles players getting their calves and thighs and hamstrings worked on, as opposed to Adelaide, the only man there getting some work. Scary thought, Andrew McLeod.
Well, they actually do look a little bit more spent than the Crows, but I guess to level that up, if we have a look at the flags up there, Wayne Carey, the sea breeze looks like it's kicked in behind that southerly, and it's pressing pretty hard down towards the end at which the Eagles will be kicking.
Yeah, it can do that here, Jared. It definitely has kicked up by the look of the flags.
7-9 to 6-5. Adelaide just the 8 wins last season. They lost their first 4 matches and never recovered. The Eagles began last year, remember, with a thrilling victory against the Bulldogs, where they came from behind a number of times at the Telstra Dome to win by 7 points. They went to September. McLeod a lot of work to do. Can Sampi come back and be the forward hero? We'll find out. Eagles to the left, Crows to the right. Ruckman, Cox and Hudson to get us underway. Cousins had plenty of it in the third quarter as well. Driving it quickly. Watch for them to be long and direct in this turn. Bassett to Edwards. If the Crows get the first 2 goals, you think they'll be able to shut it down on a low-scoring afternoon. Burton continuing to find the football. 19 possessions now. Rashudo. On for Edwards. About to run into a sea of blue jumpers. McGregor waiting for the Rashudo handball. Bassett from full-back with some run. Riley. Welsh. Important bounce. Oh, look at the desperation of Wirrapunda. Jones not expecting the handball, though. And John Cock, a little dinky kick for Riley, a beauty. Lines it up. Oh, hits the post.
And we talked about Andrew McLeod having to lift in the last quarter. He's actually started on a half-back flank, Jared.
Well, it's not a bad spot. If he's being tagged out of the match, you've got to make a change. You just don't keep letting him run himself into the ground. I think Chris Judd has run himself into the ground trying to break his tag, and they haven't had a lot out of him. So I think a push to the back flank for McLeod is a top-line move.
Oh, look at this. Wirrapunda loading up the top, almost driving it to the centre circle. But it's ineffective because Shirley is going to send it half the way back the other way. Wirrapunda comes out at full stretch. Stevens. Boundary line was the best result for the Crows. Glass kept it in. Now Wirrapunda for Braun. In with the target. Big leap over the top and spoil, but it's gone straight to Fletcher. And it's landed in the lap of Stengline.
What a big game.
Good run off full back by Hunter. And he can't hang on to it. Oh, he's paid it. Play on. Sampi deep to the goal square. Oh, gee, that carry. All of 55 metres for a behind.
It's important when, like we just spoke about, Andrew McLeod going to a half-back flank, but Tyson Stengline playing now as a half-forward and took that mark. He's not tagging Andrew McLeod now. He's playing as a half-forward.
So he'll remain dangerous. So I thought it was important for the Eagles to get some run from other areas, and Hunter pushed down from the half-back line. Haven't really had any other long driving runs from outside of their midfielders.
Umpire whistled the high tackle there. If some Eagle fans thought it shouldn't have been a mark, McGregor with the mark there.
I think win, lose or draw here, the Crows are going to be a pretty competitive unit. I think we've seen that straight up.
Danger here. Braun. He could have kept on running. Elects to go to Embley in the pocket. McGregor from the other direction. Can Embley keep it in? No. Boundary throw in.
Geez, he only had to do the Wayne Harms there because he had a teammate in the goal square.
Sheldon?
It was a dangerous kick across ground to Ben Hart. He had to make that decision a lot quicker than what he did. He held it for far too long.
10 points. Crows lead. Yet to see a goal in the final term. Lynch, Cox there for the Eagles. And we'll have a bounce.
And there's Shirley with Judd. And they have been together right throughout this match.
We haven't mentioned the job of Banfield on Mark Rashudo today. I think he's been nothing short of great, Jared.
The 3 taggers, the blokes that were set major jobs, have done a sensational performance.
Burton getting hit-outs as well. McLeod, perhaps deliberate fumble over for a boundary throw-in. How will this unfold in the final 17 minutes? Eagles record here, remember, 2 wins from 12 starts against the Crows. The last of them 9 years ago as Riley tries to clear the danger zone. Rashudo against his opposite number in skipper terms. Cousins rode the bump. Edwards wins the football. Butler got a hand to it first. Has support.
Did well.
And did very well. Found Lynch.
He's actually done a reasonable job on the Birdman since he's been moved on to him.
McGregor about to run into Stengline. Ball held in a bounce.
Fantastic tackle because Mark Stevens just went off the ground, Skipworth on, and he was free on the wing.
Stengline wearing some bruises from former comrades. Oh, Cox, clever. Braun, can he get it on to Winkshaw Cousins? He tried. McGregor was desperate, though, and did very well. And that could be a big play. Edwards for Rashudo. Low to Welsh. Can't hang on. Riley following up. Judd the tackle. Play on the call. Still the Crows go. Skipworth for Perrott. Would have to kick it all of 51. Thinking about the Rashudo lead, turns it down.
And these are the goals that Ian Perry has to kick. He's worked hard on his kicking. He's actually become a fairly reliable kick at goal, and he works hard as he's at his routine during the week.
You have just put the big moz on it.
He kicked 4 against the Tigers round 20 last year. Just the 8 goals for the season in his 10 games. Kicked 1 in the third term. That's what he's looking at. The left footer hooks it. Will be helped over for a boundary throw-in.
Pretty tough kick from out there. Into that wind, he would have to kick it. I guess the equivalent in a no-wind day of about 65 metres, and that's a huge kick if you want to gain accuracy as well.
Local fans getting involved. Deep in attack, the Crows. Still awaiting our first goal of the final stanza. Eagles under pressure. Do well. Banfield got it to Fletcher. And Stengline appealing for the free. No joy. Kerr's been terrific with 24 touches. Still just 21 years of age. Already 85 games under his belt now. There is an arm wrestle if ever there was one. And a free kick inevitable out of that passage of play. It's Adelaide's way, Bode.
Given the injury to McDougall and the lack of effect of Quinton Lynch, they've almost come into this play where they are, in effect, 2 runners down, the Eagles.
Skipworth finds John Cock. Good kick. And now Graham Johncock can line up his first goal of the year.
Big move here, Wayne. Yeah, Brett Burton off and Mattner on. I'm not sure whether Burton's injured, but he might have just run himself into the ground. He's run a lot.
How do you look to you, Schwatter, down there alongside?
He's a spent force at the moment, but there's not too many problems. He's just a tired young man, as are the rest of the players from both sides.
Important kick here for Graham Johncock to restore a handy buffer for the Crows, and he's missed it as well. 7 goals, 11 today.
And he basically, by way of his hand signal, said, what happened to the twist there of the footy?
Yeah, if you're going to miss, you want to miss on that side. I mean, that's where the ball's going to. It's going to go from right to left. So if you are going to make a mistake, make it on that side.
Who will be able to run this game out better? So far this opening weekend, a lot of cramping in the final term. A warm day in Adelaide today, as we mentioned earlier, 26 degrees. Bobbled marking attempt by Glass, opens the door. Edwards handball though to Mattner.
Oh, well done, Judd.
Oh, just brilliant. Releases Braun. The field opens up for him. He can run down that outer wing. Kicking long and direct towards the pocket. Emble's got it. Now, very tight angle. Missed one from a tight angle after the 3/4 time siren, but was very confident there to turn around and go back for a deliberate shot at goal.
If the pocket up the other end's the hardest, this is the second hardest.
But that was the kick that you were talking about. Braun actually ignored 2 or 3 short opportunities. A couple of blokes calling for the handball. He took a bounce and he just kicked long to the lead of Embley. If they can push that lead further in front, they've got the right way to goal.
Tight angle. Pretty good kick. Oh, he's got it! What a goal! And the Eagles are back within 5 points on Fox Footy.
And this is a big move. A double rotation. Hanson and Cousins coming off. Daniel Chick off and into the middle of the ground. And Brent Staker goes to that third tall up in the forward line. He can play and kick goals. But Dean Cox in the middle has been important. His hands have been dangerous.
Embley, the leading goal kicker for the Eagles now with 2. Hometown crowd getting restless. Adelaide's lead is 5 points. They have led all afternoon. The first goal came 3 minutes into the match. They haven't trailed since. The Eagles have come from 22 points behind, but they've still got work to do. They'll win a free here on halfback. Wearing the bruise, Sam Butler.
Well, Sam just went in a bit lower than Perry. Perry didn't get down low, and in effect, I think Sam Butler just drew his own free kick by crashing into Perry's knees.
Short to midfield. Now Jones.
Gardner on the big lead.
In the second of the set of circles, he takes it. West Coast looking ominous now. This is a good build-up. Gardner long to half forward. Target Hunter in front. Flies, no mark. Edwards tucked by Embley.
Well, throw that one.
Bassett for Matner on the counter punch. Henschel. Keep it moving, say the crowd. He does. Perry. Just a fraction too far out. Welsh wants it deep. He goes to him. Welsh in a wrestle behind. Wirapunda has been nothing short of fantastic down back. And kicks that to where Stingline at least had a contest against McLeod, who dropped the mark, and it opens the door for the Eagles now, because Chick can send them deep inside 50. Alex just a wedge towards Embley again, and he's got it at full stretch. And we know he can kick a football. If he can kick it 55 metres now, the Eagles could be in front for the first time.
Well, he had to take that mark because Daniel Chick effectively ignored Staker. It was Staker's man who peeled off to go to Chick. So he was running wide, but he had his man in his sights, and he was good enough to make the pass.
5 points the margin. Schwatter.
Daniel Kerr's come off cramping in both legs, about to get some work. Ben Cousins didn't get much of a respite. Perhaps someone that can give the Crows a spark is James Bentley. Very few game time minutes.
Embley missing to the right-hand side. The margin is 4 points. 2 goals, 3. His return. Cramping up will be an issue in the final stages of this match. 11 minutes remaining.
It's hurt them, the injury to McDougall.
Oh, could be costly from the kick-in. Sampy to give the Eagles the lead. Close. No. To the left-hand side.
Yeah, you'd have to be wondering why Ben Hart would try to go short in the corridor when the game's so close. He had Begley out on his right-hand side, basically on the 50-metre line.
Fatigue.
Eagles were kings of the close game last year. 7 matches decided by 10 points or less. They went 4-3 in them. Oh, he's now kicked outside the square, and it's going to be a bounce on the edge of the Eagles' goal square.
And Quentin Lynch has come on to get some legs out there. He hasn't got too much to offer in that department, but he is fresh.
Well, Ben Hart in his comeback game has had a terrific one, but 2 crucial mistakes in the last minute.
Now, will they look to concede a behind, and then it will be 2 points the difference. Judd dangerous, look at him lurking, followed by Shirley. From the bounce, they try to concede a behind, they do. And then, gee, the Wizard Cup rule would have been exciting if it was the play on from back into play. So Hart's going to do it again. This is what happened last time. There it is. Whole foot has to be behind her on the line there.
So that might have been on the line.
Great vision. Right.
2 points the difference now. Over the top, Rutten's got
marks in the last quarter. They always felt as if they were doubly important to any other quarter.
Shirley for Dowd. Look out. Closing fast. Diving was Sampy, but he got his kick away inside the 50. There's no free kick. There's no free kick, and the local fans are fuming.
As they should be. He just took him out of the contest there. He came from the front, and that had to be a Crows free kick.
There's been some Tiki Touchwood free kicks already in the first round of forwards, and that was one they've missed.
Turnover from the Braun kick. Clark marks on the outer wing. Adelaide with just 2 behinds in this final term, of which half of it has already elapsed. The Eagles with 1 goal 3. Another look.
I think think sometimes when a forward actually plays for the free kick too much, the free kick was probably there, but when you play too much, they're just not going to pay it. You're better off trying to stand your ground.
Check. Danes 20, 25, 30 metres. Will it stay in? No, Rashudo happy for a throw in.
I reckon the Crows have got to just find a way to neutralise the Eagles at these stoppages. They just appear to be dominating at these stoppages. I think Cox's use of the footy, or getting first use of the footy, has been important. It's not a great sight for Crows fans.
Burton with 19 possessions and 7 marks has had a good afternoon. Judd still seemingly with petrol in the tank. Adelaide with numbers back. Fumbler from Hart. What's happening to him in the final turn? That one, okay. Bassett. Now Bode. Need a steadying goal. Will John Cock be able to be on the end of it? Not quite. McLeod desperate. John Cock's got it. In the shadows of the stand. Bassett. Just a chip to the pocket. Not a good option. We're a punter. What a game he's having.
We've got Cousins on the other side to switch. Got the overlap play because Gardner's going to take Edwards, and Edwards' man check has worked straight back down to the half-forward line.
So Gardner's got to get this ball. Now he can use Check or he can use Jones on the wing. Get it on, Michael. You've got Jones running into space. He sends it to him. And Jones drops a mark. Caught, met in a good pressure. Good shepherd provided by Chick, enabled Braun together. Now Judd. Butler. 60 out. Chip ball. Stampy to run onto it with Matera. Can Matera find an opening? 45 metres out. Goes for goal. Hooks the kick. And we've got a 1-point game at Amy Stadium.
We've had two options now. For the last two shots at goal, Stampy has ignored Matera, and Matera has ignored somebody who was leading up the ground. Both of them were legitimate in that they were only 35 metres out, but I guess it's that issue of judgment, whether you should take on the responsibility yourself or whether you should pass it on to someone else.
And under the pressure of the last quarter, there's been some pretty easy mistakes made.
The Crows have been plucky, courageous and all that, but right now they want the 4 points. They haven't trailed all day.
That was a good mark, this kid.
Hanson for Cousins. The Eagles are firing every shot. Can they get a mark inside 50? No, Chick. Perhaps spoiled by Judd. Still the Eagles lurk. Stampy is tied up. A bounce 20 metres out from the West Coast goal. They trail by a point.
They're just not working for each other down in that forward line at the moment. And that was another occasion. Both guys, great team players in Judd and Chick, but they just weren't communicating together.
Kerr replaces Cousins. Bounce. Eagles in attack. Caught, Judd the tackle, Edwards the clearance. West Coast though 3-on-1. The one's Rashudo, but even he's not going to win a ball there. No mark for Kerr. Not paid. Hanson and Banfield off the ground. Was it touched inside? No. Boundary umpire says out on the full. Crows to bring it back into play. Skipworth.
This is an important contest. Gardner versus Clark.
At the back, Rashudo. Can he get it on to Bassett? Good pressure, Banfield. Bode saw Bassett. Fletcher, good pressure. It's fabulous, desperate footy. And there'll be a bounce on the wing.
There weren't a lot of Eagles players running to get in behind the footy there. That was one tap, one little nudge forward away from a free man running forward.
Mark Rashudo didn't get any stats for that or the one before, but great contest.
Got Stampy behind the ball here now, the Eagles.
Bode to Bassett. Skipworth has to kick to a contest though. Perry's got a couple to beat. Man in front, not paid.
That was a good decision.
Stampy.
Stoker had first grab of that one.
Look out, Banfield on a collision course. Was that off the boot? No. Boundary throw-in from Shirley.
Well, even Staker thought that was a mark. Yeah. He stopped playing. He thought, you've got to pay this umpire. Staker stops and thinks that Ian Perry has actually marked it here, and the umpire didn't pay it.
Turning to KG and Cornsey. I think it's going to be a poor decision.
Oh, the Eagles have got the breakaway. Gardner, can he give it to Kerr? Awkwardly, but Kerr's got it now. They're a point down.
Oh,
tackle by Mattner. Brilliant.
We get 50 here.
Careful, boys! Nothing stupid now with 6 minutes to go of a 1-point game.
They're running on empty both sides, but that was just a critical mistake. He thought the shepherd was applied, but it was a brilliant tackle.
Oh, the kick risky. Flirtatious. Stop the clock. Boundary throw in.
That is desperation at its greatest. He did not want to be shepherd then. He ran straight through the shepherd. Fantastic tackle here by Marty Matner. Weak effort by the person shepherding there. I'm not sure who that was, Gerald.
Boundary throw-in. We're in time on of the last quarter. Two desperate teams slugging it out. Skipworth to half forward. A wrestle. Play on the call. Staker about to run into trouble. Near the boundary line. Kerr. Quickly. Lucky. Lands with Cousins.
Cousins just on the ground. Very lucky.
Defensive side of the wing. 53 plays 52. Cousins, and it's landed in the lap of Stengline.
Well, that is amazing how it was able to take that mark.
Gee, loose checking from the Crows. Riley replacing Rashudo. Butler back for Gardner. Where's the runners now behind him? They're not forthcoming. They're dead on their feet. They've got 5 more minutes to go. He's told to play on now. He's taken his time. And a kick smothered by Riley just on the ground with fresh legs. Welsh, nice little dummy. Oh, and his kick smothered by Gardner. Jones, clever, with poise. Lynch, wide. Hanson. Cousins now with Doughty. Clever. Hanson caught. Great tackling here. And fair too. No! It was in the back. Now Hanson should go back and have a shot here regardless. And a miss would level the scores.
I've never seen more runners who don't want to run in my life. They are absolutely, if I can use this footy vernacular, I think it sums it up perfectly. They are stuffed.
Thank you.
They are completely out on their feet.
Yeah.
They are not running. Gardner had the ball. You looked around, there's 4 of the best midfielders in the comp. Nobody wanted to go past him.
The pressure in the midfield, the pressure now has gone to another level. Like you said, they're out on their feet, but the pressure's lifted.
Takes one kick. Could this young man make his biggest mark in AFL football yet with a phenomenal goal?
They've not beaten the Crows here since 96. They have not led today. Hanson to try and give the West Coast Eagles the lead. What a goal! Another Fox Footy Sunday special, and it's West Coast who have taken the lead in time out of the last quarter.
Well, this is a big call. Staker off the ground. I reckon Staker's been that important in the last 10 minutes across that half-back line that this is a bold move by the coach. Hunter back on. He's got the fresher legs, we know, but has he got the mobility and the poise?
Not too sure about the free kick, Jared.
Great poise from the 21-year-old. West Coast with the only 2 goals of the final quarter, with 5 of the last 6 of the match. And they've come from 22 points down to be in front.
Wayne Swice, Rashudo about to come on. I'll take that as a yes.
Banfield charging through, brought down by Edwards. Kick to Soccer. High, eagle free.
And Braun has just fought the great fight today. He's been up against a pretty tough opponent, but he's worn him out. His man's on the bench at the moment. I suspect he may be injured, Burton.
Kick carries Embley and Bassett. Rutten paddling it for the line. Cousins. Still working. Hanson puts Stengline well and truly under the pump. No chance to get rid of it. Bounces. Rashudo comes on.
Brett Burton would have to be injured because he was in such good form. To be sitting on the bench in this last quarter is very surprising if he's not.
He's got ice on the calf muscle. We'll get Wayne Swice to get off out of his lounge chair, Swatter.
Jared, he's got a strapping and some ice on his left thigh.
You got to keep out of those corporate boxes, one.
I wish a certain commentator didn't suggest to the Crow supporters they were going to finish last. It's been a long afternoon down here.
A wise man if they're going to squander a 22-point lead here, Swatter. 5 points West Coast advantage. Who will lift the Crows here in their desperate hour of need? Maybe Brent Riley. Edwards near the boundary line.
Just got to find a way to break here. 3 minutes, plenty of time to go, but must find a way to get the ball to the other side of the ground or edge their way through this clogged forward line the Eagles have got. They've only got the Eagles 5 players outside of the forward 50.
Crows just 2 behinds in this final term, including a poster from Riley.
Here's a chance if they can get a mark.
They've got Bow. Less than 3 minutes. McLeod kicks into gear. Kicks to the outer wing. Perry waiting down. Henshaw with him. Gee, good tackle. Hunter's been all right down back, and he did very well there. Banfield for Cousins. Ran into Shirley. Play on. Umps letting them go here. Cousins may be hurt. Dislocated finger, perhaps.
This kid's killed him.
Matner away. High ball to the wing. Perry, you've got to make it. He can't blast the mark. Cousins still hurt.
He can go back. Quentin Lynch is on his own, but it's a dangerous kick.
Finger on the left hand for Ben Cousins as we work our way towards 2 minutes. It had happened prior to that. Glass towards half forward. All Crows should get it. Oh, no talk.
Kick.
Hunter, Hanson, Fletcher. One more could do it. This could be it, Embley. A question of accuracy now. Inside of 2 minutes. He's cramping up as well. Cox replaces Lynch. The clock is stopped. Frozen at 1:59. Players' joints freezing and seizing up on them as West Coast look at a come-from-behind victory to start the season.
You summed it up a little bit earlier, Jared, when you said that Staker and Glass across that half-back line for West Coast have been the guys that have really stood up. It's actually got to the Crows half-forward line on several times in this last quarter, but not able to get it past there.
Yep. And this is almost like, to keep the tennis analogies going, an injury timeout in a Grand Slam final as Embley given time to stretch out. Good numbers today. And if he kicks straight here, he'll have his third, and the Eagles will just about have the points. He kicks the goal. West Coast lead it now by 11 points. Let's check in with Schwatter, boundary side.
Yes, Ben Cousins. I can't clarify whether it's a dislocated finger, but obviously it's serious enough. He's not on the bench. They've whisked him straight down into the rooms. I don't think we'll see any more of Ben Cousins.
Thanks, Wayne. A sense of relief, a look of relief about Embley there. A 3-goal-to-none final term. The Eagles have overrun the Crows. And they're heading for the exits here at Amy Stadium. The locals think this game is done. I tell you what, a quick set of clearance here and a break might have them looking for their seats again. I'd never leave an 11-point game. 26-minute mark, final term, showing on the scoreboard clock. Who will get the clearance? No one to this point.
They've pushed Hanson back as a spare man in defence. They've just they're happy now.
Shutting
the Eagles shut it down, just block this up. They won't care if there's 4 more centre bounces, and they will go on now and win this match. The Eagles, and they haven't played well. The Eagles, they have just had to graft this victory. They haven't had too many individual players stand out, particularly their star players. But it's been a courageous victory.
Gardner, the palm, Edwards hurries a kick forward. Henshaw, Glass, no free. That's the worst thing for the Crows. A bounce, although umpire Wen stops the clock at 55 seconds.
55. You can still win, and that's what's exciting. One quick kick here, and they get a goal, the Crows, but they would have to do kick 2 in a minute. They haven't kicked a goal this quarter.
Clock is running now. Bounce astray. Clark gets it down. Bounce eludes Rashudo. Sampi picked it up in the second half after a very quiet opening 2 stanzas. Matera towards Embley, who's become the dominant forward for them. Adelaide to try and run. They've got half a minute. This is Rutten. No time for finessing. Kerr was tackled. Riley, quick hands for Bassett. Rashudo. Perry with 2 to beat. Eagles with the numbers. Kerr holding it down. Hanson for Glass. And they can happily run it down now. There's a free kick for Sampi. And for the first time since 1996, the Eagles have beaten the Crows in Adelaide. What a gutsy victory this was. A low-scoring afternoon. A taxing afternoon physically. But the reward is a valuable 4 premiership points. Ashley Sampi, well, ambitiously believing the final score is not yet inked in the AFL record. He might have a crack from 65 metres out.
Well, he's one of the few players on the ground that's got the capacity to kick at that distance. He unloads on a torpy.
He will go the drop punt and it will land short. Final score 9-10 to 7-11. The West Coast Eagles trailed by 22 points early in the third quarter when Edwards goaled a couple of minutes in. But on a ground that has been their graveyard so often, they've kicked 6 of the last 7 goals of the match to win it by 11 points. There's our final 9-10 to 7 goals 11. Andrew Embley, the only multiple goal kicker for the Eagles, he booted 3. Scott Welsh, 3 goals in the opening 7 minutes, was thinking this is going to be a dream season. Could not add to his tally after that.
Yeah, look, I thought we saw a real change in the game halfway through the second quarter. The Eagles started to bottle it up. Adelaide were in control at that stage, and really from there, there was a lot more man-on-man football, Jared. And look, the Eagles were just far too good. Guys like Cousins and Kerr, Fletcher, in the last quarter especially, were guys that really stood up for them. They won the ball around the stoppages, and Adelaide just didn't have the same. You know, they're better players. Edwards in the last quarter really didn't have an impact. He went forward.
Gee, it looks like it meant something. How much for this man, Tyson Stenglein, with Wayne Schwartz?
Certainly meant something, Clinton, but I guess it's a sign of an individual. Tyson just asked me if it was okay. He went and said good day to a few of his ex-teammates. That's a little bit bittersweet today. You've made the move across or back home to Perth, but you played against a bunch of blokes that you know so well, and there's a lot of great friends here.
Yeah, there is. It was a weird feeling today, a bit different than the usual games, but I'm just wrapped that we came away with the win, and it's going to do us a lot of good.
Now, it certainly wasn't pretty, but I guess that's a sign of a good side. The number of your better players, your more senior and expected players to perform well. Didn't have the best of the days, most notably Chris Judd, I guess, but still the sign of a good side is that come interstate to a place that you don't have a good record at and still win the game.
Yeah, John's been over the whole pre-season trying to work with us on team balance and everyone doing their bit. And I think today, right across the board, the team was very good. And when the younger guys can stand up if the older guys aren't playing too well, that's a sign that we're going to be doing okay.
What was the feeling 30 seconds before the opening bounce, realising that this is it? I'm playing against my old side I've spent 6 years at.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird feeling, as I said before. But it was familiar ground for me, so it was nice just to get out of the way.
Congratulations, all the best.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Tyson Stenglein today with 14 possessions and 5 marks against his old club. The Eagles going down to acknowledge their pocket of support. The crowd of 39,055 largely going home disappointed. The West Coast Eagles returning to Perth with the points. They've won it 9-10 to 7-11.